What's up? How's it going? What's everybody up to? How's it? How you doing? Good? You having a little day? Who's here? Centauri. Centauri's first one in. Good job. Ms. Blue the Great. What up? Tina Madrid's here. Can't stay long today. I got therapy and then lunch date with the husband. Nice. Fancy Unicorns here. Keyboard smashed. Timorous Beastie. Jackie Piper. Ms. Blue the Great got a mug from a giveaway. Nice. Is it good? Which mug did you get? The Death Plains one? Does it look good? Wrapped around like that? And it's supposed to be 115 Fahrenheit here. Jesus Christ. We had a cool snap. Hasn't been up over 102 for a few days. That's a cool snap, is it? Is that Michael? Went to Ghost to the Augustus. A few people here today. What's everybody been doing? I've been sorting stuff all day while on the couch. Nice. Calamire's here. What up? I do love charisma checks. Well, we'll chat about whatever comes up, I guess. Jackie, how's it going? Packing going on, moving day in less than 2 weeks. You moving far? Is it like a big move cross country or something? Or is it just like next suburb over or something? Plan on doing food prep, but it's still in the fridge. I did cooking last night. I actually did proper food prep, did proper meal. I got my meal box through and I had a very disgusting meal. I'm really not a fan of chicken drumsticks as your main like part of your meal, because like how are you meant to eat chicken drumsticks when it's part of a meal? Like with a knife and fork, cut off the chicken. For like chicken drumsticks are like a barbecue meal, because you pick them up and eat them, and then you've got all of the shit that's left over and throw them away. I also don't understand the process of like seasoning the chicken drumsticks, because I had to like put salt on them and then put the spice package that they give you and then put the breadcrumbs and put it all in a bag and then like shake them up and stuff so it's all coated, and then you put them in the oven. And I've never understood it, because I'm like, you're just coating the skin and none of it gets, not like it seeps through to the rest of the meat, and so the meat just remains slightly slimy chicken. It's stupid. I keep forgetting to like go into the settings of my my food box delivery service and just be like, no chicken drumsticks. But the mashed potato was pretty nice in the slaw situation, and it didn't take too much to actually make it, which is good. Oh man, fucking dealing with this shit. Why does YouTube just jump my chat when I try to just slowly scroll it? Lounged in the pool for a bit, did some cooking, got some drinking and dragons later. Nice. Classy and mature as always. Yep, that's me. Morning, the most awake Rob. This is my awake face. Not as jet lagged. Not as jet lagged. I'm just generally not a morning person. I want to hear how Chance went, said Tara. Chance of Sanat. Yeah. It was good. I enjoyed it. I was this close to being incredibly angry at the ending before I found that there was like a person on the other side that I could interact with. I thought I just got the bad ending and then that was it, and I was just stuck now. then I realised it was sort of a false ending, and I enjoyed it. I had loads of cherries today. They were great, but my stomach disapproves. Cherries are so good. I like cherries. 5-hour nap. About to fall asleep again. 10 PM, so I won't fight it. Good night. Good night, love. How did filming go? It went really well. It was a very big week of lots of early mornings and late nights, and that's probably why I'm so tired this morning. We got 12 skits done in 3 days for D&D Logic, which is insane. It's just way too many. Like, all of the people that we know that does sketch comedy, like Deerstalker Pictures and fucking Foil Arms and Hog and Chris and Jack, they're always like, what? How are you doing that, and why? What are you just put out less content? People won't care. Like, just put out one thing less a week and get 3 things shot in a day instead of 4, and have less fucking panic attack. But Viva are like, no, I must get 4 full sketches in a day, and it's a lot to do, and they do that, and that's just the D&D Logic was just the last week with the 4 sketches, and there was the end of the shooting block where they've already been doing that for 2 weeks already, where they're going Epic and BC Man and this and that and the other, and they just have so much content. Rob, you know it's Law's birthday? I didn't know it was Law's birthday. Happy birthday, Law, if you haven't already gone off to have sleeps. Moving about 2 miles, moving out of my marital home into my own place. A scary end of a chapter, starting a new one. That's a pretty scary end, Jackie, but congrats on the new chapter beginning. It's scary but exciting, hopefully. This is where chicken wings are better. Chicken wings, they have the same problem. What are you talking about? In fact, they're worse, because at least with chicken drumsticks, you get some amount of meat on them. Chicken wings, there's just nothing. Oh yeah, that was worth all of the fucking prep work for this little nibble of this kind of semi-taste of chicken that I got, and then before just getting to bone and gristle and fucking tendons and shit. Chicken takeaway, got 0 other food in the house. Chinese chicken takeaway, Chinese takeaway. I've been shopping for 2 weeks. You should probably go shopping, I reckon. That'll probably help. Ooh, to chicken skin, throws away the flavour. Yeah, that's my point. I'm like, what? How are you meant to flavour the chicken? Are you meant to skin it before you use it? It's just chicken breast. Chicken breast is where it's at. Crispy, crunchy chicken skin is amazing. Some of the flavour permeates the meat. If you do it right, I guess, because mine just ends up like wet and slimy, and I'm like, that so did it not cook for long enough? But I cooked it for longer than it said to cook it for. So, I don't know. I microwaved mac and cheese before the stream. Our first session with Start Playing last night. It was awesome. Hey, nice, Calamire. How'd it go? Wiped out a whole bunch of zombies with spike growth. Nice, that's a good one. I like that. Just like big battlefield control spells where you're just like, ha, these guys are stupid enough to walk through it and continue to walk through it even when they're getting hurt, because they're just animated zombies. And they'll take a shit ton of D4 damage as they walk. Spike growth has got to be one of the best spells. It's so useful. And it pairs so well with so many other spells because of the cheese grater effect. And just grab people and throw them through it. Family coming to visit tomorrow. I'm using this time to clean the bathrooms, prepping the spare bed. Nice. Season 3 D&D Logic hype. yeah, I'm excited. There was some very funny sketches in there. There's one that I was like, I hope this goes down well, because it was a little bit toeing the line, I think, but I think it'll go well. Well, it'll certainly generate a lot of comments and a lot of cesspit in the comments for it, I'm sure, because there'll be people on all sides of the topic that are triggered to comment some pretty disgusting takes, I'm sure. But hey, it'll generate algorithm interaction. Sounds exhausting, but you're done for a bit now. No. No, I've got green screen for the next campaign as of Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then we're doing supplemental content on Friday. So, no, very much not done for a while. How long's a working day if you're filming so many sketches? We filmed from call time was 7 a.m. each day, and we filmed until just after 5 each day, 5:30 on the last day. So it was, what's that, 10.5 hours work day without travel time. And so we were filming way out West Auckland, like way over on basically the coast of West Auckland, which is like an hour's drive from me or so. And so it was like I had to be leaving the house at like 6 a.m. So I had to be getting up at like 4:30, and I wasn't home till like after 6 each night. So it was a lot. It was a long week of only 3 filming days. Need to get myself a Corntail map to go with the Gurdon map for the living room. Yeah, do it. Team Chicken Nuggies, yeah. Come for the chat, stay for Rob criticising chicken. Trying to frantically learn Dagger Hat, have a game in a few hours, and I know nothing about it. Are you running a game, or are you playing in the game, Michael? Because that's... like, surely you're running in it, and then the DM will just, or the GM will help you to walk your way through it. You just need 2d12 and then roll when they tell you to roll. I need to continue to learn Dagger Hat. Actually, I've got I got work to do with that. I've got to learn how to run the game. Need to finish reading the rule book. Maybe when you're more awake, but will you show us your work on the plus 250 ability check, list of items, background, etc., and what the winning combo was? I can do, actually, because that was a basically that was for a D&D Logic script, and we did not choose to go with it. So I can I don't want to just show you the script because there's a chance that we use it in like a future season. But what is the word I'm looking for? How do I search for that? It was called Impossible, not Impossible DC. Impossible DC. Draft 2. Is this the one? Meeting an Impossible DC. Alright. Oh shit. No, this is the I need like DC. I need draft 1 maybe before I had to cut it down. In order to try and make it actually work for a sketch and actually hold throughout the whole thing. I needed to cut it down, so I got it down to 150 for the sake of the script. But I did manage to get it to like 250 or something. Oh, 228 in this script. I'll try to catch up a little bit with the chat a bit more first. First D&D game I used Spike Growth to pin a baddie in place so we can interrogate him instead of him running away. Smart. There's a lot of boxes to pick in Daggerhat. In the character creation. So the first episode of the final AOA game session on Viva Plus, no spoilers, but man, you look tense at the beginning, lots of pressure. Fucking, you have no idea. Like, man, that is the closest I've been to a panic attack. That was like, oh my god, everything's finally coming together. This is the final session for me to wrap everything up, to tell this story in an epic way, to tick all the boxes, to make sure that this battle of a scale I've never done before is somehow balanced and fun and epic and enjoyable for everybody, including the people watching. And what if I drop the ball on any of the story pieces? What if I forget something like Podger's doll? There's a lot. Hopefully all goes well. On the D&D, thanks for the character help. Last charisma check. Played 4 sessions of COS now. That's the Curse of Strahd with my little Silver Ranger. Having all the fun with Hunter Smart, Colossus Slayer, and Hail of Thorns. Nice. Wraith planning to kick fella in the nuts. That's the only plan so far. That's your plan for just life, or the Daggerhat game specifically? Waiting for a long rest so I can swap in Ensnaring Strike. Ooh. They mentioned green screen filming in the Viva Plus update. Yeah. 7 AM's a lion during the school week. This is why you don't have kids. 7 call time or 7 start filming? 7 AM call time. I mean, to get up before 9 should be illegal. I agree. As a night owl, I completely agree. I get up at 4 AM for work these days. Quit. Quit. Playing it. Hopefully the GM's good. Hopefully. Who's GMing it? Anyone I know? It's terrible as you think, even after my body, you should be used to it. Headed for my appointment, gotta get off. No worries, Madrid, see ya. Did you remember the doll? I didn't. Completely forgot the doll. Oh well. Have you seen Tom Cardy's latest D&D video? Only like 700 times, yeah. I think I saw it within seconds of him uploading it because my algorithm's like, here's a thing that you should watch. And then within the next few minutes, I was sent it about 6 times, I think, without exaggeration. I was sent it like by everyone, including fans and people that don't know me, just like friends and fans alike. They were just like, here's a new video you should watch, it's funny. And then I saw it when I logged off of Instagram and into YouTube. I was like, oh, you've seen this thing? Here, watch this thing. And I was like, I have seen this thing, and it's very funny, and I will watch it again. It's not a quite perception check. Yeah, it's not a perception check, but it's still funny. Final filming was Totes Finals week. Yeah. This is the final table session. Yep. The final table session of Adventures of Azrim. We're looking at ending on episode 250. I'm pretty sure I saw on Reddit that one of the editors, Tasman, he said, yeah, I decided that it would be best to end on a long episode on a nice round number. So I'm pretty sure that's somewhat semi-official confirmation that we're looking at episode 250 for the end of the campaign, which is, what, 8 weeks away? 7 weeks away? Oh, exciting. Here I'm trying to plan PAX travel. Do you know when your pre-game will be? I know it's a lottery to get a ticket, but I like to please for success. It will be before the PAX weekend, so we're looking at the Thursday before PAX weekend, all being well. I know we see how well fella's perception is and if he remembers to buy a cup. Picks up the phone and calls work and quits because Rob told me to. Yeah, just be like, hey, I'm not getting up at 4 a.m. anymore, so move my work times so that I can get up at a reasonable time, or I quit. Good life advice with Rob. She's cool. She enjoyed Mercs almost as much as I did and wants to buy a TTRPG birthday party. Ooh, nice. Wants a TTRPG birthday party. They're pretty fun. That's how I got into it, is doing D&D for hire for a birthday party. Really liked your short rest stream yesterday. Cool conversation. Thank you. Yeah, it was a cool conversation. Weston's a really cool dude. Really good guy. Really genuine, passionate, very authentic, just very honest and open. And he goes before we went in. He goes, "I'll probably end up oversharing because I'm not very good at private." Keeping things private, so if anything because I said, like, I always ask my guests, is there anything you want me to avoid talking about, and he was like, nah, I'm an open book and probably too open, I'll probably end up oversharing it. And I was like, oh, I relate hard. $250.4 then, says Fancy. What is that related to? What? Always love me a short rest. Such interesting things come out of the conversations. It was a good conversation. I feel like it was a good one. Love the chat with Arcane Anthems. Yeah, it genuinely felt like we could have talked for another 2 hours. For PAX, also, do you know what days you might be running sessions? I'm not running sessions at PAX, if that's what you're asking. I'm doing a couple of panels and seminars and things, if that's what you mean. But I'm not running games at PAX Australia. I'll be running a private game before PAX, my Private Sanctums. But I don't know what... If you're asking what days am I doing, like, the panels and stuff, I don't know. They haven't been accepted yet. PAX has not yet sent out confirmation of which ones I am actually going to be doing or not. I've had a few people contact me to be like, hey, do you want to be on stage for this particular thing with us or whatever? And I was like, maybe. Depends how many of my panels get accepted. It's kind of all up in the air when it comes to PAX, because I'm like, I've submitted 3 different panels. If all 3 of them get accepted, I'm already kind of reaching my limit of what I like to do, what I like to commit to over a 3-day convention. And then it'll be a case of, like, whichever ones other people are accepted for, which ones can I do and when, and which days have they put me on. I've requested that they're on different days, if at all possible. I think panel submissions are still open. I think panel submissions closed a week or so back. I think it was mid-June for panel submissions. Although it is still open for voting, which I'm glad I just realised because I haven't voted yet. So I really should open up the Crit Awards. And click on the vote thing and have that open as a tab to remind myself to actually vote. Because it would be very funny if I didn't win and I hadn't voted, and I'm like, oops. Building character now and searching for options to defend against kicks in the nuts. Maybe requesting help on homebrewing a How to Train Your Dragon game. Ooh, cool. Oh, I love How to Train Your Dragon. Dungeons and How to Train Your Dragons. Fella's Cup of Anti-Unicorn. Didn't kill the official who came to Nagas. I mean, panels and seminars, so I had to figure out what day passes to buy. Just buy all 3, I reckon. Just do it. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't know. I will be announcing it as soon as I've gotten the email saying, like, you've been accepted for all 3 things and here's $1 million. Then I'll be like, hey, this is when I'll be at PAX. Do you ever do virtual Private Sanctums? I do not. I'm not as big of a fan of virtual games in general. I'm not opposed to them in principle, but I just don't think that they would be what I want to do. Are you bringing anyone neat to guest on your panels? Yes, I am. If I get accepted for Death Roulette again, that's obviously going to get accepted, because why the hell would they not accept me? I've been incredibly successful with it the last 4 years in a row now, and earned like $7,000 each time. As and when I get accepted for that one, I will be having some of the usual folks, some of the people you've seen before, but I also have, do I want to spoil it? Do I want to say? It's an exclusive charisma check. I can talk about it. Phoenix Cross is going to be joining me for Death Roulette. She was super excited for it, and bought her PAX tickets, and she didn't know anything about PAX or the convention or anything. She had no intention on going. I was like, hey, just out of curiosity, you go into PAX? And she's like, this might be a silly question, but I've heard a few people say it, like talking about it. What is it? I was like, oh boy, you're gonna fucking love it. With the amount that you got into D&D, here's the lowdown on what PAX Australia is, and if you go, then I'd love to have you on my panel for this, and this is how it works. And she's like, I'm gonna buy tickets now. And she bought tickets and bought flights and booked accommodation and whatever, and she's super excited and super keen. So I'm going to introduce her to... I've introduced her to being a nerd with D&D, and now I'm introducing her to being a nerd with conventions. One of us. I love Phoenix. She's great. She's really fun. She's also going to be one of the players in the standalone one-shot game show thing that we're doing with Fever on the D&D channel later as well. Later this year, in a month or so, we're filming a game show style thing that I don't want to say too much about, but Phoenix is one of the contestants on it. I'll have to wait until you're back in the UK, cross my fingers for a private sanctum, then yeah, I'll be back in the UK before you know it. Like, I've got my nephews out there that I want to spend more time with, and so I won't be going back this year because I've already been fucking twice this year. But maybe Christmas or maybe next year or something. Incredibly successful at Death Roulette and fabulously modest. Will panels be on PAX's Twitch? Yes, they will, yeah. It'll deepen her D&D obsession even more, yes. Hope you told her she can come and cosplay. She loves to sew her own things. That's a good point. I should make sure she knows that it's a huge... I think I did. I'm pretty sure I mentioned that it's a cosplay thing. Rob getting hooked on D&D. Yeah.
Giving out little samples of D&D. Get it in your system. Here's your dice. Here's a free dice for you. Free sample. Roll it. What you got? Ooh, a 7. That's pretty high, but it could be higher. Means you need to roll it again. I reckon you should get a whole set of them and roll them all, and then stack them up and see if you can stack them, and then you need a character that goes with those dice. They look kind of like lava, so maybe you need like a pyromancer character. Ooh. Everybody gets hooked. Nobody leaves.
Considering the workload, might need to be commiserations. Big program of work with a big release later this year. High risk activity that gets external regulatory. Jesus, that just sounds exhausting reading. Likely to be in the right county for me, so that's a win. There you go then. First time you were back was an extra special visit, not a general visit. So technically only one. I've been to the UK twice this year, but one of them was completely unexpected because my granddad was dying. And so I was like, well, getting on a plane tomorrow. And then I was there for like 2 weeks to just be with family, and then came back again. And then I went over for the one that was actually planned for my nephew's birthday, like a month later. So at least I've racked up the air miles, I guess. Speaking of dice, RHGM custom dice soon? You mean these ones? You mean these Robert Hartley custom dice? We're working with Dice Goblin on making our own dice for the merch store and whatnot. Of course, it's an addiction. It's all gambling. It's gambling. It's all gambling. Show us, pretty please.
Secrets.
I don't know. Are we showing them off fancy, or are we not showing them off? What's the deal? Are we showing them off because there's nothing really we can do about it to change anything at this stage because they've already made them? Dice soon. I'll just let you hear them instead. Fancy said show them. Well, I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll pick up the D20 and I'll roll it, and if I get more than a 10, I'll show you, and if I get less than a 10, I won't. I got exactly a 10, and technically from how I said it, I only accounted for more or less than. So we're at an impasse. I both have to show them and not show them simultaneously. That's interesting. So I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll show them, but I'll turn the camera off. Does that work? Is that roll again? Schrodinger's dice. All right. Oh, I got a nat 20. I've got to show them then. I've got to show them, and I've got to show that the fact that the nat 20 is RH, so that when you're looking at it, it looks like the RH logo. Boom, baby. All right. Let's find a camera. Is there some way of me putting on maybe this guy? Is this guy actually plugged in? Maybe I can turn on my dice cam. Dice cam camera. Video capture device. Create new video capture device. You plugged in? You're not plugged in. Did I unplug you when I went overseas? I did. Yes, I did. Here we go. Let me plug in. Let me plug in the other dice cam. Boop. Boop boop be-doop. All right. New video capture device. I'll just call it dice cam. Whoop. All right. Here we go. Let's just put it over in this corner so you can see him. There you go. They're black like my heart. Let me adjust this. Oh, let me pull the leg off. Let me get this dice cam up and ready for you. Hopefully. It's pretty blurry, but very pretty. Hopefully the suspense is growing. Hopefully you're going to enjoy the suspense, the dice. Get this. Oops. Ah! Alright, then we grab this one. This dice tray full of dice. And we tip out all of Apis and Nifa's dice. And I put it over here. Boop, 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 boop. Boop, ba-doop, boop, boop, boop. Alright. Are you ready? So, we went with a green that is subtly marbled with another green, like two different greens, and then we went with green writing as well, because it seemed to fit the theme of the Merry Gentleman and Apis the Ranger, and I really liked the idea. I really liked the look of it. I like green marbled with green. I think it's a pretty neutral-ish colour. So there's the D4. Rolled a 1, of course. Here's your D6. A 6. Nice, not bad. See, so some of them roll well. and you're getting all kinds of different colors depending on whether I'm in shadow or light or what. This is going to be really interesting to see, because they look like turquoise to me on the camera, but they are not in real life. I'll do my best to sort of adjust the camera a little bit, maybe fuck with the lighting, see if I can get one that looks more accurate to its real life color. There's the D8. There you go, look. Let's go D10. That is a 6 on the D10 there. See if I can get a 9 on the D percentile. It would need to be the other way around. That's a 20 on the D percentile. So I rolled a 26. There's the D12, D12, D12. That's a 10 on the D12 there. We've got one of the D20s. That's right, it comes with a set of 2 D20s. That's a 6 on the D20 there, the one that has the goblin head on it. And then this one, this is a 3. A 3 on the one that has my logo. There's my logo on it, yay. Alright. Let's see if I can fuck around with the camera, the lighting, if I put them in shadow. That gives you a slightly more accurate look at the lighting situation of it. Maybe if I'm just going to fuck around with this settings a bit. Configure video, color space. I don't know what color space means. I don't know what any of these things do. I'm just pressing. Oh, okay. That one gives a very vibrant look. Oh, that's actually not bad. That's a lot closer to it. That kind of look is the sort of color that we're after. I wonder if there's a difference between this camera and that camera. This camera feels like it's slightly more accurate, slightly more appropriate for the coloration. So full disclosure, this is where we're at with discussions and stuff. Really happy with the font. I've always enjoyed the Dice Goblin font and the style of their dice and stuff. I have said to them, like, I kind of wish that it was a little bit more marbled. Like, it's a trial and error situation when you come into mixing resins and mixing colors and stuff, that you pick the colors you want. You're like, maybe these ones, and then they try them, and it's like, in practice, the way that they sort of mix together isn't so great. So from my taste, there should be 3 greens essentially in the dice. One for the font, a quite light green that makes it nice and easy to read, and then 2 darker greens, two different versions of like forest green and grass green. Because specifically I wanted like grass for the Merry Gentleman's grass suit, and like foresty kind of greens for Apus's ranger stuff. And they marbled together in the digital prototype pretty well, and I was like, yeah, I think that works. And then when we've got them as a sample, I was like, I would have liked a little bit more distinction, a little bit more marbling, because they're kind of just one color, to be honest. Which I still think is very pretty. Like the green is a very nice color, a very sort of neutral color. And most people, like, if you're playing a ranger, a druid, a nature cleric, any of that stuff, like, you're gonna need green, aren't you? Even like if you're playing an orc or an ogre or goblin or something, maybe you want green just because it feels like it's right for the character there. So I'm still very pleased with them, but I just kind of wish the marbling was a little bit more. And then the other thing that I have at the end of the other question I had for them was like if the RH logo could have been a little bit thicker, because when you compare it to the font thickness, the line thickness of the font numbers, the RH seems a little thin. It's a little bit on the thin side, and so it doesn't really give you that pop of like bam, big RH on the logo, like on the face of it. Obviously, it couldn't have emulated the logo exactly, because on the logo my R and my H aren't contained within the triangle that is the D20 side. So obviously, it's not going to be a perfect representation of the logo, but the idea is to make it look a little bit like the logo. So overall, happy with them. There's a couple of different things that I would tweak. Unfortunately, with just how it's been going with back and forth and coming back and forth to the factory that makes them in China and all this, and waiting for samples and other problems. I didn't get this sample set in my hand until it was too late, and so it's kind of like, well, why did we get samples then if it's too late to actually change anything about it? Which kind of annoyed me a little bit. I'm like, well, surely the point of a sample is that you give me the set so that I can go, oh, we need to change this and this about it, without it being an issue. But oh well. If this is what they are that they sell, I'm still happy to sell them. They're still a quality that I'm happy with putting my name to. I'm still pleased to have a set of my own dice, which is pretty exciting. And also my very first dice, which aren't in here. My very first dice that I ever got are a marbled green set as well, which I think is one of the reasons I was tempted to get it. I think the marbling you can see you can kind of see it well on the D6. You can see the two different greens that are kind of mixing together there. Maybe a little bit easier to see. But of course you are dealing with just like the issues of cameras. You can kind of see it better on the D6, right? The like the darker forest green and the grass green mixing together. And that's more of the effect that I would like for all of them, I guess. Anyway, hopefully you like that. Let me turn that off now. Oh no, I was messing with text settings. Test Goblin's font's always been the reason I never bought dice from them, but the marbled greens might be enough to tip me into buying territory. You don't like the font? Because I really enjoy the font. I think it's really readable, but with also being like it's got a lot of character to it. But it's also super, like, I think that Dice Goblin's font helps it to ride that line pretty well between, like, you can still have pretty dice without it being unreadable and unusable. I've never been a fan of dice that are pretty just for the sake of being pretty and then you aren't actually able to read them. Dice Goblin guys said they get UK Games Expo, they were working on something for you. Nice. Well, there you go. Same way when trying to marble a cake, yeah. 6 sets of dice, we'll need to add yours and the Viva's. Nice, yeah. Viva dice out soon as well. Facing the D6, there's good distinct marbling, yeah. So if we do them again, they will be different from the first one. So limited edition, yeah, they're a limited edition set. Fancy knows marketing. There is also, I should mention, I don't know if it picked up very well on the camera, but there is like speckles of shiny green as well. I think I turned off my autofocus on my camera, didn't I? Because somebody in one of the streams asked me to do so for whatever reason. Camera control, autofocus, apply, done. Let's see if I can get it to autofocus on the close-up. There you go. You can kind of see there's some little bits of like glittery, sparkly, like embedded in the 6 as well, embedded in the dice. You can see some sparkles. Not super obvious. Maybe that's another thing that if I had the chance, I'd be like a little bit more with the glitter, just to give it a little bit more sparkle. Fancy the Spin Doctor. The first set will be unique, that's it. We have to get multiple sets. It's a really strange order of operations for manufacturing. Yeah, I think there was just like some fall down in the communications. Like I gave my address to get a sample sent to me, and then like months later was like, I had to ask again, like, am I getting a sample? And they were like, oh yeah, we can get a sample for you. And I was like, I already asked for a sample. And it was like, oh, what's an address that I can send it to? And I was just like, I just like replied to my comment from months before, being like, here, this address. First dice set's emerald green, nice. there could be variation among the individual sets, and there will be because of the nature of marbling and sparkles. Some of the sets will be slightly more marbled, and some of them will be slightly more sparkly and what have you. Everyone will have to post pics of theirs to see how different they are. Yeah. D6 definitely has the best marbling going on. Makes me wonder if the different mold shapes made that big an impact on exactly how the mix ends up settling. Yeah, it must do. I don't know nearly enough about how they manufacture dice and how they mix the colours, because it does feel like the colours, you can tell obviously on the D6 the different two colours that I picked for the dice. I say I picked the two colours that were picked. It was a conversation between the dice manufacturers, me and Fancy. So the colours that were picked, you can tell the different colours a little more on the D6, and on the others they just kind of seem like, have they just mixed them together like a paint mixer? We haven't actually got those swirls mixed into them. You can see it a little bit on, like on the 12. You won't be able to tell. Yeah, on the face of the 12, there's some of the swirling. This D20 has a decent chunk of marbling. Like, see if any of this picks up. It's not picking up super well, but you can kind of see it, I guess. There is some marbling to it. I just wish there was a little bit more. They should be coming with RH bags. Yeah, like little dice baggies. Little dice baggies with the RH logo on the front. I don't have any of the dice baggies around me at the moment. They were not part of the sample. Well, actually, they were part of the sample that was sent, but it was sent in a cardboard box. And by the time I got here, it had been left out on my porch for a couple of weeks in the rain while I was travelling. And I had specifically emailed my neighbour across the way from me and said, "Hey, I'm getting a package delivered. Can you bring it in? Can you bring it into your house and I'll pick it up when I get home?" And he was like, "Yeah, no worries." And then I got home and I was like, "Oh, so you didn't do that?" And it's been rained on for 2 weeks, and now the cardboard box it's in is all mushy, and the fucking canvas dice bag that it came in is all filthy and whatever. Great, thanks, man. First dice were purple and teal, marbled with glitter. It's the only safe place for glitter in resin. Yeah. I think I'd like the Dice Goblin's font if the number's closed. For example, a 6 doesn't loop around to its stem completely, and for some reason that makes it hard for me to figure out what number it is. Interesting. Okay, yeah. I mean, that's literally the only example, though, right? Because 1, 2, 3, 4, they don't have anything that needs to be closed. 5, 7, and then the 8 and the 0 are closed, so it's really just the 6 and the 9. It's the 6 and the 9 that don't fully close up, and then when you've got the 6 and the 9, they have the dot next to them in the bottom left corner as per standard. So it's never been an issue for me. Like, I just see it and go, "Oh, that's clearly a 6 because it's got the dot next to it." But whatever, maybe it's a visual thing. I know that there are some fonts that work better for dyslexia and dyscalculia and stuff. Some people find other fonts like super easy to read and not others. They're the same wee bags that Dice Goblin have, but branded to the RH. Yeah. Got exactly the same marbling on every single dice. Take it back and get it right. Nothing against the dice. Green is my favourite. I'm not a fan of the font either. Yeah, to each their own. Ms. Blue the Great, they're definitely not the only set of dice that will ever run. I'm sure that Robert Hartley merch store will eventually have other sets of dice as well. I would love one day to have like a selection of like, a few 4 or 5 different sets of dice that are, blues and reds and whatever. A black on black, right, Fancy? Like DG always gives you 2 D20s. Got to have that sweet advantage. Yeah, it's good that they have the D20 rolls, and I was happy with them. I enjoyed the idea of having, because it was a Dice Goblin collaboration with Robert Harley. It's like, hey, have a Dice Goblin one and have a Robert Harley one. What Rob means is, aren't these cool? They are cool. This is why I do our marketing. I'm just honest, all right? I just can't bullshit people. Like, if they ask me my honest opinion, I give them the opinion. I can't help it. I am like, my honest opinion is that I am very happy with them. Like, that I am happy with them, not very happy with them. That's the difference. I enjoy them. I think they're good. I like the coloration, and I am happy with them. I just wish that they'd sent me a sample soon enough that I could actually have made the teeny tweaks that I would like to have made with them. I'm picking at the edges, yeah, because they're my dice. They're like my first branded Robert Hartley dice, and I would have liked to have been able to iron out some of the issues before they told me, oh well, it's too late. I'm looking forward to those dice being available so I can start my dice collection. Yeah, well, it won't be too much longer, hopefully. It's black on black with sparkles of black. Robert Hartley Fey bone dice? Yeah, some bone dice would be cool. They'd be expensive though. These are future changes, but the dice look awesome. Yes. Black with gold lettering would be pretty. Yeah. So yeah, one day I will. One day I'll get another set made, and we can have, and that can be like a trial run, or like a limited run, I should say, and then we can get some more dice made, and that'll be a limited run, and then it'll be a case of like, hey, throughout the years, almost it'll be like, oh, did you manage to get some of the green Robert Hartley dice? I wasn't a fan of his until after they'd already sold out. I can't get my hands on any of the green ones, and I've got a collection. It's the only ones that I'm missing, and then there'll be collectors. Collectibles. Purple dice. Yeah, I think purple ones might be one of the ones that I would do next, or either the next ones or the ones after that, because I like the idea of purple ones for arcane casters, spellcasters, sorcerers, and wizards and stuff, and some warlocks. If you do like purple with like much darker purple, almost black, sort of swirled into it, you could have like a very magic-y kind of look to it, and like really light pinkish or light purple, violet kind of, or lilac sparkles or something. Those would be cool. Technically these are session 0. New dice every streaming anniversary by the end of it. I mean, maybe they're expensive, and there's like a minimum order that you have to get, and we're talking like hundreds of dice that you have to get, and so whether or not how often we do more dice will depend on how well these ones sell. I have a feeling like we'll sell a chunk of them. Like, I have a feeling that we'll sell a decent chunk of them when they go live, because I'll be promoting them all over my channels, and then we'll sort of keep plodding along a little bit as I just like slowly promote them, and eventually we'll get to, hopefully before too long, we'll get to a point where I've earned back the money, because I need to sell something like 80 sets in order to break even on the cost of them. And then if we do that quickly and we get to the point where we've sold and broken even, then it's like, okay, if that's a quick thing, then it tells us that people have an interest in it, and we might want to do another set, another run of them before too much longer. But if getting to the point where we've broken even takes like a full year of like promoting them and trying to get them to buy, to sell, then it means that it'd be like, we don't quite have the audience size for breaking even on them quickly. So it's all going to come down to those sorts of decisions. How quickly we break even on the upfront cost of buying them in the first place. Any ideas of price point yet? I mean, I can't, I can't lock anything in, and I don't want to I don't want you to be disappointed or anything if I say something that ends up wrong, but to give you a ballpark, it'll be somewhere in Dice Goblin's usual range. So if you just head over to Dice Goblin, because they'll be the ones actually selling them for me. They're the ones handling like the shipping and like storage and warehouse and stuff. They are sold through Dice Goblin, and they take a cut of the profits as part of that. Which I'm perfectly happy with, because I do not want to be storing a fucking pallet full of dice in my tiny little house and handling all the shipping and all that shit. So they'll be in the range of Dice Goblin's usual sets. So definitely not expensive as far as dice go. Like sometimes I go to conventions and it's like, oh, you want this set of gemstone dice? They're only $200. I'm like, what the fuck? Who's paying $200 for a set of dice? When I briefly had the sort of affiliation thing going on with Level Up Dice, and it was like, I don't anticipate any of my audience are actually buying any of them, because yes, I get like some affiliation perks for just clicks, like some people go in and just clicking on it, but nobody's buying them because your dice is so fucking expensive. Like, who's paying $173 for a set of dice? It's, people with the money for it, I guess, but like, it's, yeah, not for me. Even if I had the money, kind of on principle, I'd be like, I'm not paying that for dice. But at the same time, they're not the cheap, super quick churn them out resin like Chessex ones that you can get for like $5. So they'll be somewhere between, somewhere in that range. Isn't Blurple indigo? Blue purple? Yeah. It's the nerd version of storing money in art. I suppose so, yeah. Anyway, alright, so I'm caught up. Let's go through the Impossible DC and see how we got there. So for this particular draft of the script, the DC is 228. Start with a nat 20, 208 to go. Guidance, you roll a d4 on that, you got 204 to go. Bend luck, add another d4 on. Bolstering magic, that's a barbarian thing for wild magic barbarians, you can add a d3. Pact of the Talisman, that's a warlock thing, you can add a d4. Cosmic Omen, you can add a d6. Flash of Genius, you can add your Artificer's Intelligence modifier, which can be anything up to a 10, theoretically. Boon of Fate. Boon of Fate, you get to add a d10. Boon of Epic Fate, you get to add 2d4. Lost Crown of Bessilmer, you get to add a d6. And we're up to 75. If you're rolling maximum on all of these things, you've already rolled a 75. Coming of Age Ceremony, from the Ceremony spell. That is another d4. Supernatural Gifts from the Theros setting includes one called Oracle's Insight, where you get to add a d10. And we're up to 89. The DM said, "You're rolling maximum on every dice? That's statistically unlikely." Oh, you didn't add your charisma modifier yet. So you can add a charisma modifier, which is another, theoretically up to 10. So we're up to 99. You've rolled a 99 already. You have expertise in persuasion. And if you're using the proficiency dice rules of the DMG, rather than proficiency number, you use proficiency dice. And when you get to a high enough level, you are rolling a d12 for your proficiency, which when you have expertise means you're rolling 2d12. And then if you max both of them, you get maximum. But if you have an Ion Stone of Mastery, your proficiency number goes up by 1, which equivalent in the proficiency dice means your dice type goes up by 1. And so instead of d12s, you're rolling d14s. So if you're rolling 2 d14s, then you've got another 28 that you could roll there. So with that, you're up to 127. Emboldening Bond. That is a cleric thing, I think, which is a d4. reborn knowledge of a past life if you are a reborn race. That is another d6 that you get to add to it. You can spend a hero point. One of the ways to spend hero points, not my hero tokens. So my hero tokens are the do anything kind of narrative tokens, but the hero points that are an optional rule in the DMG for 5e means that you can spend it to add on another d6. Battlemaster fighter levels. If you have Battlemaster fighter levels, you can use Tactical Mind to add on another d10, and then Commanding Presence to add on one of your Battlemaster maneuver dice, which can be up to a d12. So you're adding on a d12 for that, and we're assuming we're rolling maximum on all of these things. Actually, as well, because of the way that the script works out, they say Commanding Presence for a d12. The DM has to correct them and say it's a d8 because you're only 3rd level fighter. But if you were a high level fighter, then you could get a d12. Theoretically possible there. So I should actually be able to get another 4 onto whatever we're currently running total for. We're up to 161 or 165 if they're a high enough level fighter. Here's where it starts to get like, maybe it wouldn't be able to get to the high enough level fighter because for the next thing they would need Dark One's Own Luck, which is a level 6 Warlock feature. If you multiclass into Warlock Pact, Warlock Arch. What the fuck are they? What are the subclasses of Warlock called? Is it just? It's just Archfey Warlock, isn't it? And like Dark One, Old One, Fiend Warlock. Pact, whatever, Fiend. If you take the Fiend Warlock, you get the Dark One's Own Luck at level 6, which allows you to add another d10. And then Psi-Bolstered Knack, if you have enough levels in Psionic Rogue, you can add on a d8 from that. Otherworldly Glamour, if your Charisma is high enough and you're a Feywalker Ranger, then you get to add your Charisma modifier on, which is up to a d10. This is my first charisma check stream, says Mares. What are we doing? Somebody asked me what's the highest DC you could roll if you were rolling an ability check, and I happened to have written a D&D Logic script that never got filmed, so I actually know the answer, and it's like over 220. Hero token would be a waste here. It would turn your 220 plus into a simple success. Yeah, only if it's my hero token. Yeah. I was going to say Pact of the Blank, but Pact is when they call your 3rd level thing, when it's like Pact of the Chain, Pact of the Tome, Pact of the whatever. It's not Pact of the Archfey, Pact of the Fiend, Pact of the Great Old One. That's not their. That's not what their paths are called. Just chatting with Rob, telling us how to get the highest possible roll. Yeah. Going over the results of a project Rob was working on. Yeah, basically. Alright, so where are we up to? We've got we're up to 194 so far with Otherworldly Glamour, and then 5 from Emissary of Peace, which is a Peace Cleric ability. Boon of Luck. So we had Boon of Fate and Boon of Epic Fate, but now we've got Boon of Luck as well. Boon of Luck adds another d10 to it, so now we're on to a 204. The DM, these rolls are so unlikely. Oh, items. Now onto items. If you have a luck stone with you and an item called Harkon's Bite, and then another item called the Sweet Tasting Human Canine Implant, then you can add on a whole bunch more and get us up to 216. And then finally, the DM's hopeful that it's done. Are you done? Are you out? Are we 12 shy? And then the cuts of reactions from the others, and then it cuts over to the bard who's sitting there nonchalant, smoking a pipe or whatever, and then says, "Oh, sorry, did I forget to give you bardic inspiration? Remind me, DM, what at this level, what is that?" And the DM says it's a d12, and he goes, "Right, and how exactly shy are we from meeting the DC?" He He goes, we're 12 shy. And so he rolls the d12 and it lands on an 11, and everybody groans and says, Rob, come on, we're at 227 persuasion check, you've got to let us have it. And I say, if you do a good enough job of telling me what a 227 persuasion check looks like, if you do a good enough job of roleplay, I'll allow it. Oh, sweet, I got this. And then the character steps forward, and like, the character being somebody who it was meant to, this was written with the chance, there was a small chance we were going to be doing like a pretty significant collaboration with somebody, and if we had done that, then the joke was that I was passing it over to say like, give me good enough role play for this check and I'll allow it. And the person I'm handing over is in the community known as an incredible, like, unparalleled role player, and he was like, no worries, I got this. And that was kind of the story of the skit. And it begins with that person being like introduced as like being new to the game, which was another little joke of like, oh, you've never played before? Cool, don't worry, you'll pick it up. I said like, it's a role-playing game, you can do whatever you want, your imagination's the only limit, it's not about winning or losing, it's about having fun. And then Rowan leans over and says, don't listen to him, he's tricking you, it's definitely about winning. And so, let me set the scene. You're at a castle of the king, having just completed a quest for him. However, rather than giving you your reward, he laughs and orders his guards to capture you. Thanks for getting me the stone of Yurland Tree. With this, I can finally start my plans of world domination. And then the new guy goes, can I just persuade him to stop? And I say, you're not really in a position to persuade him of anything. You're captured. And he goes, you said I could try anything. You said this game was about I can do anything I want and my imagination is the only limit. And the other players are like, you did say that, Rob. I'm like, fine, sure. But I'm kind of setting up that he's the big bad guy of the entire campaign. He's not just going to be persuaded to stop his whole plan for world domination in session 1. And the new guy's like, can I at least try it? It says I have persuasion on my sheet. I'm like, fine, you can try, but it's the DC for it's like over 200. And he's like, how much exactly? I'm like, it doesn't matter, you're not going to make it. It's like, let's say 228. I'm like, okay. Oh, nat 20. And then it begins from there. Nat 20. Yeah, I'm sorry, that's not enough. Wait, don't I add something to it? It doesn't matter what you add to it. You're not going to add a 208 to it, are you? And then the cleric goes, guidance. The DM slowly turns to the cleric. Seriously? What? Fine, roll a d4. Ooh, I got a 4. Yeah, unfortunately 24 is still not enough to bend luck. Guys, you're not going to get to 200 and bend luck adds a d4 to it. Another 4. Well, good for you. A 28 is still not bolstering magic. What's bolstering magic? It's wasting my time is what it is. It's a wild magic ability. You get to add a d3. Oh, this is fun. Oh, I got a 3. Fine. Guess what? It's still not enough. And then the others start to rapid fire. Pact to the Talisman. Wheel Cosmic Omen. Flash of Genius. Yeah, very good. Funny guys. Can we just get on with the game? We're up to 51 already. And then that's where it goes. And like the DM, as it's getting closer and closer, the DM starts to sweat. And he's like, why are you doing this? How are you rolling maximum on all of these things? I would want to see this skit. So would I. I think it's a fantastic skit. Unfortunately, the guys had a couple of problems with it. They felt like it dragged on a little bit too much. They felt like it was way too many pages. Like, it's 7 pages long, which is way too many pages for a sketch. Generally speaking, you in filmmaking, generally speaking, you use a rule of thumb that like 1 page is about 1 minute of content. So like 3-page script is roughly 3 minutes. A 3-page script is about 3-minute skit, and a 90-page screenplay is like a 90-minute film, give or take, right? Viva tend to want 3 to 5 minutes, and so they say like 5 pages max kind of thing. And mine was 7, and they were like, you gotta get that down. And I was like, come on, it's like you need it. It's rapid fire dialogue. Some of the dialogue is like cosmic thing, da 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 da, and they're like, it doesn't matter how It doesn't matter how rapid fire it is. And I was like, of course it fucking matters how... If I've got a massive monologue that takes up an entire page, that's going to take 3 minutes to film, even though it's one page. Three minutes of screen time, even though it's one page. Whereas if I've got a page that is mostly just character parentheses of how they're saying it, this thing, and it's like 2 words, and then pause, and then somebody else comes in, and that's going to take up an entire page of writing, but it's only going to take 10 seconds of film. So of course it matters how quick fire it is. So it's 7 pages, yeah, but it's 7 pages of quick fire. But they were like, nope, cut it down. So second draft, I cut it down to the DC. I just made the DC 150. I removed a whole bunch of the sort of more obscure things, and then they were like, yeah, it's, you know, we're somewhere we could work with it. Ben went through and kind of did his master writer thing, because Ben's the head writer, so he takes all of the scripts once they're submitted, and he does a final pass over all of them to try and make them feel like consistent. And then when it came to choosing which scripts we were actually going to film for D&D Logic Season 3, neither of my scripts were chosen, unfortunately, but I'm still happy with the ones that were chosen. They were good scripts. But this one's in the bag for a future D&D Logic if necessary, and if not, you know, if they never use it, then I can always make this sketch for my own channel someday when I feel like doing so. I'm listening a lost D&D episode. Rob, wordy? I don't believe it. I've spoiled it. There's no point doing it now. Sounds like a sort of Deerstalker picture one. Yeah. Anyway, that's the reason for why I was asking you guys to contribute. If you could think of any other ways to add to any other ways to add to an ability check. And the thing to keep in mind is a lot of people are like, oh, well, like a wizard's portent, you can supplement somebody's, you can supplant somebody's roll with a roll that you've already rolled, or like this feature gives you advantage on attack or whatever. And it's like, well, if we're assuming the person's already rolled a 20, the portent and the advantages and all those things, they don't matter. And then other people are like, oh, but what about this thing that allows you to add your that allows you to use your strength instead of your charisma? I'm already assuming that I'm using a maxed out plus 10 charisma, so adding in strength is again not going to change anything. I literally was just looking for stuff that can add on a dice or a number. And it's like, when you see somebody doing an ability check, you can blah. There are other features that I didn't mention in here as well, because there's some things that are just mutually exclusive to the other things that I've tried. So I've assumed for the D6 reborn, whatever it was called, reborn something about past life, reborn knowledge of a past life. I'm assuming that you are basically a zombie race character, because you get a feature called reborn knowledge of a past life that can add a D6 on. But that excludes you being a hobgoblin, for instance, which gets saving face, where when you fail an ability check, you can add on the number of allies you can see. And when I saw that, I was like, oh shit, you could surround yourself with allies. Now I need to work out how many allies fit within a 60 feet radius of you, and you could technically add on that much to the check. But it says to a maximum of 5. Okay, so I can add on a maximum of 5 from saving face as a hobgoblin, but I can add on a maximum of 6 if I'm a reborn, and so that you can't do both of those. I did wonder, like, oh, maybe you could be a hobgoblin, then you die and get reborn, and then you are a reborn hobgoblin, and maybe you get both. But the wording of the reborn feature specifically says that when you choose to be a reborn, you can either choose to keep the stats that you had of whatever race you were before you were born, or you can take the reborn features. And so if you kept the hobgoblin's saving face, you wouldn't get the reborn knowledge of a past life thing. What about the barbarian feature? Let's use strength on perception check.
Fucking muscly eyes. I'm gonna see real hard when I'm raging.
Fucking stupid bullshit. Even knowing about it, I would want to see it. I thought went right to figuring out what class and race you were to make this work. Yeah, I mean, at one point, after he adds on, because it starts with the other people at the table saying, "Oh, don't worry, we helped him make his character," and the DM's like, "Oh, that's oddly nice of you guys," because they're all kind of, it's an us against them kind of attitude for the sketch, where the DMs are, the players are knowing what's coming and they're about to try and fuck with me, and they've deliberately made this character to try and fuck with me. And so it's like, that's oddly nice of you. And so after it's gone on for a while, it says, one of them goes, your Dark One's own luck and your Cybolstered knack take you to 179, which implies that he's got 6 levels of Warlock and 3 levels of Psy Rogue on top of the Battlemaster fighter that we already know that he is. And I go, how many multi-classes did you... And they just interrupt. 5. 5. You get another 10 from Otherworldly Glamour and 5 from Emissary of Peace, indicating that he's both Ranger and Cleric as well. And of course, knowing me, it won't be a surprise to you that I did actually work out that this build would theoretically be possible. Like, you can take enough levels in Cleric, Fighter, Rogue, Ranger and Warlock in order to actually get to all of these abilities. But the difference is that unfortunately you don't get enough levels in Fighter to get your D12 Battlemaster maneuver dice. But the extra 4 that you would get from that is way outweighed with the extra dice that you get from being Warlock and all of this. I should have to play this character somewhere just so that I can roll ridiculously high ability checks. Some of these features, unfortunately, some of the features only trigger if you have failed an ability check. So it's like when you roll an ability check and you would fail, you can add a d6 to it, blah blah blah. And so the DC needs to be high enough that you can't fail with it, because as soon as if the DCs are 100, then you get to 100 with a lot of the features, and then the other features don't trigger. So obviously you're succeeding, so what does it matter? But like, if the goal is how high can you possibly roll on an ability check, the DC needs to be high enough that you can still fail. It was a lot of fun trying to figure out all more ways to add stuff, but unfortunately went too far into the initiative track. That's the other thing, like I had to then go down the track of like which ability should I be asking for in order to get the biggest roll possible, because some of the things only add onto persuasion checks, some of the things you can only add onto charisma checks, some of the things you can add onto strength checks. So I was like, how can I make it a if I make it a strength-based intimidation check, then I can add this thing because it's a strength check and this thing because it's a intimidation. And then there's other things that's like, when you roll initiative, and I'm like, initiative is a check, but there's not nearly enough things that add to initiative as there are to add to persuasion, so I went with persuasion in the end. Why do I suspect you've also worked out the chances of rolling max on every dice? I didn't get around to doing that, but I did consider that in an earlier draft that didn't even make it to the first draft. Like, an earlier thought of the script was, I'll have a line towards the end of the DM saying like, this is a so many billion to 1 chance or whatever. But yeah, I did definitely think about doing that. If we were to have actually filmed it, I probably would have made some comment from the DM of like, there's less than a 1 in 63 trillion chance of this happening. How are you rolling like this? Barbarian feet with the muscly eye had me hyperventilating. That was priceless. It was like a skit that would be fully understood and appreciated by a small group, but that group would really, really love it. Could do it as a sort of, hey Rob. Yeah, maybe. I might ask them and be like, do you reckon we'll ever film that one, or do you reckon I can just film it myself? I'll make this character the next time one of the Viva people DMs. Yeah. Fuck, that'd be funny. Do it as a hey Rob in front of a whiteboard. Stage an online game in order to film it. Do it in front of a whiteboard with all the strings connecting the things, yeah. It requires such an incredible setup to get anywhere close to this, because so many of the things are things that your allies need to add on to you. So you need to have an artificer in the party who has a maxed out 30 intelligence, and you need to have people with epic boons, the epic boon of fate, epic boon of luck, epic boon of epic fate, and all of these other things. Like, you need to have people with you need to have like some legendary items of the Harkon's Bite, and the Harkon's Bite is something that turns you into, it's a cursed item that turns you into a werewolf, but it just gives you a +1 to ability checks or something as well. And so it's like, well, yeah, I've got that as well now. It would take such an incredible amount of work to try and set up this character. Anyway, there you go. What else are we talking about? Have you all voted in the Crit Awards? Make sure you do so. It's the last day tomorrow. I'm cold. Brr. Talking about dragons earlier, what type of dragon do you reckon would best embody rage and revenge? Ooh, okay. A rage and revenge dragon. Well, are we talking just 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons lore dragons? Which ones are in the lore of D&D most likely to be raging and revenging? It's a bit cold in here. Brr, it's cold in here. Must be something in the atmosphere. We all voted before you did. Send me a Discord ping with things we can talk about. Cool, cool, cool. Thank you. 5e dragons, alright. Rage and revenge. So, see if I can remember the lore of all the dragons. It would be one of the chromatics, because that seems very evil. Holding a grudge. I think the green ones, I'm leaning towards green for like holding a grudge, holding a revenge, because they're considered the schemers, and so scheming on revenge would be more them, but that's less rage and less like, and more like I will be the one to have the last laugh. Outright rage and just primal instincts, primal fury is it kind of feels like the white dragons a little bit, because they are the bestial ones, the ones that like the hunt, the ones that are just like raw and less sapient. They're certainly still very sapient creatures and very intelligent creatures, but compared to the other dragons, the white dragons are more like more likely to lose control of their emotions, I guess. The rage obviously makes me think of red dragons because of the fight, like literally people talk about anger in the same way that they talk about fire, with like raging and fiery and explosive and that sort of terminology. Fire dragons, let me think. Blue dragons, I think, are the proud ones. They're the ones that are most likely to be angry if you insult them. Red dragons are the greediest ones. They want everything that everybody else has. Black dragons are the most sadistic ones, the cruelest ones, the ones that enjoy to torture and pain and burning people with their acid breath and shit. I'm just noticing that, like, I've got this, like, is that an awkward black line at the side of my screen? What that's about. Rage, revenge. I'm gonna look it up actually. Let me see what the write-up says about each of the dragons. It'd be good to have a reminder. It's been a while since I've tested myself on them. Red dragon, let's see. Red dragons take whatever they desire, burn to ash anything that stands in their way. Chromatic dragons endlessly desire more magic, territory, treasure, and whatever else inflames their cruel ambitions. So yeah, greed. You can kind of see them as like greedy. All of the evil dragons are capable of the rage, I think, but like it depends. It changes like what it is that makes them rage. Red dragons have perfect recall of their hoards and contents and locations of everything they've collected. Should anything go missing, they fly into a rage. They won't rest until all of their treasure is returned and the thieves have been burnt to death. So sending red dragons into a rage is kind of like stealing their hoard or taking from them, because they're all about greed. Blue dragons, I'm pretty confident saying that they are all about pride. Blue dragons, arrogant, imperious. Blue dragons are chromatics that crave control and collect followers like other dragons collect treasure. They seek to transform territories into empires and domains to be feared by nations. They have sharp features with piercing horns, dwell in deserts, blah blah blah. They seek layers near sites of symbolic power, such as abandoned fortresses. Regalia of rulerships and artistic masterpieces fill their hoards. They have no interest in treasures that are common and flawed, but they prefer one-of-a-kind gemstones, crowns of the fallen royals, magic items capable of spreading their influence. So they're about pride and influence. And I guess if you insult them, that's the thing that will drive them to a rage. So I don't think blue dragons are quite right for rage and revenge. Let's go green. Green dragon. Green giant. From forbidden forest depths, green dragons whisper evils into the world and manipulate the lives of those who listen. Elusive, conniving, egotistical, they patiently prey on the fears of shorter-lived beings, corrupting and isolating them. They might lurk amid labyrinthine wildernesses for centuries without revealing themselves. Even their most devoted followers might know them only as the voice of the woodlands or a whisper in their dreams. Despite their might, most green dragons disdain physical violence, viewing combat as servants' work, preferring to trick their foes into dangerous and exploitative scenarios. These dragons collect baubles that embody their webs of manipulation and serve as tools of extortion, such as compromising documents, family heirlooms, and sentimental treasures. You know, like keeping people and keeping their families hostage so that you do their biddings, and stuff that they can blackmail you with, and manipulation tactics and techniques. It sounds very much like Twitch Tales. I hope so. I hope it seems like it fits with the theme of them, because I am a fan. Yeah, so green dragons, they definitely seem like the revenge type because they're conniving and manipulative, and they'll definitely hold a grudge. But they're less of the rage type because they seem like the most in control of their emotions, the most able to be like, all right, you've slighted me, cool. I will keep that in mind, and I'll come and destroy your entire village. I wonder why I might want to destroy an entire village. Then we have the black dragons. Black dragons delight in suffering and ruin. While other chromatic dragons scheme for power and wealth, these dragons seek to tear down and see all they see and rule over what remains. They are terrifying creatures with curved horns and blah blah blah. Typically inhabit stagnant swamps, crumbling ruins, magical places of magical corruption. Their acid breath scars domains, eroding features from ancient statues and leaving nature with festering wounds. They hoard tarnished symbols of hope and relics of fallen empires. The more sought after the treasure, the more the black dragons prize it, particularly if they were responsible for it being lost. So they're all about pain and suffering and destruction and corruption. They seem like they would rage, I guess, a little more if the raging is about hurting someone. And then finally, the last of the five is the white dragons. Among the most primal of the dragons, they prioritize survival overall. Life is harsh and uncertain in the Arctic expanses, glacial heights, and frozen seas where these dragons dwell. White dragons fiercely protect their territories, scouring the frigid regions for food and evidence of trespassers. They ignore the plots of smaller creatures and other dragons, concerning themselves only with their own survival. They create lairs to defend themselves from other deadly Arctic creatures, and they hoard testaments to their superiority, such as monstrous skulls, the gear of defeated rivals, and curiosities that capture their interest. In terms of smarts, they have the adult whites have a -1 intelligence, so they are not very logical and rational as far as dragons go, but they're not quite as dumb as like ogres and stuff. So I'd say, to answer your question, having recapped them all, Rage and Revenge I'd say is probably looking at red. The red ones feel like the most volatile, kind of angry. You take something from a red dragon, they will rage, they will come after you, they'll take their revenge on burning you and your family and your whole town, and in order to get back their 20 gold that you stole from their hoard. Does that answer your question? We have 7 Deadly Sins dragon versions. Yeah, what would they, if you were to put the 7 Deadly Sins to them, you've got red dragons is greed, blue is pride. What else we got? There's not really a lust one. Gluttony. White might be gluttony, because they're like the hunters and survival, and they're like just going out and killing things, perhaps. Doesn't exactly fit, but maybe. There's not really a sadism, 7 Deadly Sins, is there? Wrath is kind of close. So maybe the black dragons would be wrath. What are the other sins that I'm forgetting? Greed, lust, gluttony, sloth, pride. What am I forgetting? Did I say sloth? Sloth doesn't really work for any of them. Envy, thank you. Envy. Envy would kind of also be the red, because of the greed and the envy and the wanting of wanting something somebody else has. I don't think that any of the 7 Deadly Sins really work for green, do they? Green is about manipulation of people. I suppose you could kind of see lust if you really strain the definitions. You could be like manipulating people, kind of like I'm thinking like a succubus uses lust in order to manipulate people. Green with envy. Well, people say green with envy, but they're not envious creatures. It's not envy that powers them. Lust is Lucy because of his crossbreeding thing, yeah. But again, that wasn't really lust. He wasn't doing it because he was driven by lust. He wasn't like, oh yeah, look at that bird. Look at that giant rat. Oh, I'm gonna get me some of that. He was doing it because he wanted an army. He was like, I need to breed as many in as often as I can every day to try and make sure that I've got an army of half breed children. D&D monsters are so cool. They've got a lot of cool lore to them. I'm a big fan. Lust for power. Yeah. What were you asking for, fella? What did you need all that for? Doop 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 doop. I remember thinking that given the pig farm feeding him and the dragon pig crossbreed, Lucy had a taste for pork in more than one way. I'm gonna pork that pork. I'm gonna pork that pork before I eat it. Maraz asked it. Oh, sorry, I thought I missed it. They were doing a thing about people. No, I thought it was you that asked it, fella. My bad. Oh, Pride merch. Thank you, Fancy. Yes, we've got Pride merch coming soon. Blue got a t-shirt, so go and wash them, see if they wash okay. Cool. A while back,
few years now, we made some Pride logos within the Robert Hartley GM emotes and stuff, like the love hearts, the love potion, the logo, the D20 logo. We made a few different versions of them with like the bi flag and the rainbow flag, and other flags. We made versions of them, and we put them up on the merch store for Pride Month, and the proceeds from them go to Rainbow Youths in New Zealand, like a charity, Rainbow Youth charity situation. And we're doing the same again. We're bringing them back to the merch store. We're gonna have them in like t-shirts and stuff. We've got some prototypes, or like what are they called? Not prototypes. Samples. We've got some samples out there being tested to see if they're good, and then we'll chuck them up on the merch store. And it'll coincide with the end of Pride Month, I guess. So watch this space on the merch store. Plans for PAX and PAX Australia Private Sanctums. Plan for PAX is that I'm heading out there a few days before the weekend. We're going to do a private sanctum, I think, on the Thursday before. So watch this space on Patreon and YouTube members. You will get the announcement of when tickets go live if you are interested in joining me for Melbourne Private Sanctum. We're looking for venues at the moment to just lock it in and check which ones are going to work for us, see if it's going to be the same venue as last time, or see if it's going to be somewhere different. Yeah, that should be pretty fun. Then after PAX, I might be I'm still considering whether it's going to work out this way or not, but I'm considering going to Tasmania for a week, because I've never been to Tasmania. I'd like to check it out. I'd like to check out Tasmania, and one of you fine folk lives out in Tasmania and asked if I would fly out to do a private game, and if my flights and accommodation and everything is being paid for, then I don't see why not. It should be pretty exciting to get a chance, an opportunity to see Tasmania at the same time. Go look for the devils, yeah. Gotta go find me some Tasmanian devils. Somebody also told me about an amazing museum in Hobart when I mentioned it to them yesterday or the day before or sometime. Somebody said something about there's like a really good museum there apparently. Bonorong Sanctuary. My mind went to Tasmanian tiger. It would be amazing if I saw a Tasmanian tiger, given that they're extinct. But like, that would be pretty cool. Fancy says I should maybe mention that I've got a collaboration coming as well soon. If you've heard of an Irish comedy group called Foil Arms and Hog, I met up with them while they were in Perth and I was in Perth, and we ran a game together. I ran a game for them. I introduced them to D&D. It was the first time playing for two of them. One of them had played a little bit before, but not much. And I ran them a game. I included a whole bunch of references to their sketches and skits and stuff, and it was a lot of fun. It's a great chance to meet them. They were funny guys. And so that'll be coming at some point in the future too. And then finally, Jesus, tired in here or something. Got a lot of tired in this room. And finally, Fancy says we could tease the new map that's coming to the merch store. I have a new map coming to the merch store. We have the Corinthial map already up there, the Northwest Corinthial, and we've got another map, a map that will coincide with the mini campaign that we are doing with Nifa Moruki, the Bearfolk cartographer. She's a map maker in game, and so we got another map commissioned, and it'll be coming to the merch store soon. They like your flavour of D&D? They seemed to really enjoy it. They were like surprised and
surprised and excited to see all of their characters and like references to their sketches and stuff. Extinct is a bad excuse. Their BFF is Bigfoot, so yeah, hiding very, very well. I love Bonnarong. They have a cockatoo there named Fred, who's over 100 years old. Also have an albino black cockatoo. Albino black. Fred's a rehome, the black cockatoo's a rescue. This cozy hoodie's giving me all the sleepy. Yeah, it is very sleepy. It's very sleepy inside this hood. There's a bunch tied in my living room earlier as well. I had to nap it away. When's Nifa coming back to Twitch? Soon, hopefully. Now that I'm back in the country and on with filming with the Viva guys, we're getting some things out of the way, and Nifa will be starting again soonish. So this week coming, I've got a lot of green screen to do for the last campaign, and then I've currently got it in for the 13th of July. So basically, 2 weeks today might be the restarting of the Nifa campaign, because it'll be once I've finally got out of the way all of the Viva stuff. So if all being well, I'll be restarting the second half of the Nifa mini-series on the 13th of July. We'll be doing the same again the next week, the week after that, and the week after that. I'm looking at doing 7 table sessions of it. I was originally going to be doing 6, but we're going to add on another one as a thank you for your patience while I've gotten disrupted from it all, and all of the travel happened, and the unexpected having to rush home to the UK for my granddad and all that stuff. Caught up, so I'd like to join in. Well, it seems like you'll be able to. Finally framed and hung my Corinthian map the other day. I've only had it 6 months. I've still got some jigsaws sitting on the floor of my bedroom that have been needing to be framed for the longest time. Can't wait to get a live TT fix again. I'm looking forward to it as well. I'm excited to start it up again. It feels like it's been too long since I've run it. Any news on getting Brit for Between Two Turns as Arrow? No idea. That's really a question you need to be pestering Viva about. Be like, yo, what's up? Yo, what's up? Why are we not getting an Arrow Between Two Turns? Noodle! I've missed her and us. Totally marking it on the calendar, missed the neurons. Busy year so far. It certainly has been. How many sessions left for Noodle? 4 more, I think. So we're going to do 4, 5, 6, and 7. So we should. I'm thinking of just doing them week after week as well. So I'll just do 13th, 20th, 27th, and 3rd. Obviously, that's Sunday mornings, my time. So it'll be the day before those things for you guys. Yep. Exciting stuff. Death Plains hype. Can't wait to see what that fun sounding place has to offer. Death Plains. It's not quite as bad as they say. Maybe because she lives over here, it's trickier to organise. That's exactly it, yeah. It's a lot trickier to organise. But like when she comes over for D&D stuff, or for Viva, or for filming things, then you'd think that they would be like, oh, while you're here, let's film a fucking Between Two Turns, but they have not. I do like your voice for Noodle, although I find it odd that it probably helped me to get the NZ accent more than listening to native New Zealand folk. Interesting. Right in the middle of my peer support specialist training. Nice to have that break with Nifa. What is peer support specialist training? Not death. Definitely not death. Maybe it's the deaf planes, and it's just silent in there, and you are deafened when you walk into the deaf planes. Maybe. Do you have one of the Death Plane stickers for props when we get there? I don't actually. I've got the Death Plane t-shirt, but I don't have the Death Plane stickers. I'll have to schedule my laundry such that my Death Planes shirt is ready for when we do the first episode. It's the Hard of Hearing planes, thank you very much. It's the I need subtitles. It's the audio processing issues planes. No, it was the Death Planes. Now it's not so bad anymore. So now it's the coma it's the coma planes. All right. I'm running out of things to talk about, but I also kind of feel like doing a little bit of like trivia-ish things or games and stuff. So if I play Time Guesser, will you join me for it? So it's going to point at your chest. It'd be like, boom, Death Planes. That's where you are. All right, let's go to this screen here, and let's play some like online gaming because that's what I feel like doing. Doopy doopy doo. Move it over here. Move this over here. Doopy doopy doo. Doopy doopy doo doo doo. All right, and then go to the Windows share. Time Guesser. Let's just crop it and move it like so. Boom. All right. What's the daily Time Guesser? Let's have a look. For anyone who's never seen this before, it's like a daily quiz thing online where you are given a photograph and you have to guess where and when that photograph was taken. So let's see if we can work it out. Obviously this is Cyprus, some sort of justice for Cyprus. This is Greek symbols. Cyprus to Greece. So obviously some kind of protest in Greece about Cyprus, or in Cyprus pointed at Greece. I don't know the history of Cyprus and Greece. Like, was Cyprus occupied? Was Cyprus occupied by Greek? Is that the situation? I don't know enough of my Cyprus history. A peer support specialist is very similar to a psychotherapist, the main difference being that the support specialist doesn't require as much education and relies on lived experience. Oh, okay. Cool. As a provider, so we're not diagnosing anything or prescribing anything, just supporting clients with I know how you feel, essentially. Got it. I'm going to say it's probably in Cyprus. The one sign says unite with Greece, so it's not in Greece. Yeah. Cutting the chains for something. I'm not sure what that's about. What are they cutting chains for? We want our Cyprus. Cyprus Union. So they're not trying for like emancipation. Cyprus to Greece. Cyprus to Greece. We want our Cyprus. Why do they want their Cyprus from? Like, why did they not have their Cyprus? What was going on there? Oh, here we go. Shed our blood for liberty. Want liberty for Cyprus. That didn't help. Fought for justice for Cyprus. Something all party leaders together for Cyprus. Well, I'm pretty sure that it's going to be Cyprus. And I imagine that it's probably going to be in Nicosia. And within that, it's probably going to be... Where would they get the biggest crowd? It's in a big plaza, big town square or something. Maybe this like big park here or something. All right, we'll do that. And then when is it going to be? When is it going to be? What are some clues to the time? a suit and tie. Lots of people in suits and ties. This guy's briefcase on his head. Trilby. Not many people wearing hats. Most people in sunglasses. Lots of people in these sorts of hats. Feels like 50s? Yeah. I was thinking 50s. Black and white photograph, obviously. I'm willing to say that it's actually pretty close to the default, which is 1962. I'm going to say maybe 59. What are you guys thinking? Cyprus, maybe 60s, 1960. Feels like 50s, 60s. Men's hair is late 50s sign, said 1959, maybe late 50s. You got to also think that if like style and stuff looks like late 50s, it could be still early 60s if the country that we're in is a late adopter of fashions and technologies and stuff. What do we got over here? This little boy in his very high-waisted shorts with above the knees, and this guy with his vest on. $1959 is a good one. I'll go 61. I'm going to change it to 1960 because I feel like it's just like Cyprus would be slightly late adopter. Alright, here we go. Oh, 52! We were way off. Oh, and it was in Greece. Thousands of Greek Cypriots in Athens main square calling for the union of Greece and Cyprus. So it wasn't in Cyprus, it was in Greece. I did wonder if it was actually going to be on Greek mainland because they were trying to protest something in Greece. All right, not the best, that one. We were 8 years off. It was 1952, earlier than I would have thought. So what was actually happening? Like, what was the deal there? What's the deal of Cyprus and Greece, 1952? Turkish invasion of Cyprus? 1974. So that's not what we were looking for. Thank you very much. Cyprus-Greece relations. 1974, the Greek military junta supported a coup. The Turkish invasion. We're not talking about that though. We're talking about the... Here we are. Well, Greece became a member of NATO in 1952. Cyprus has never been a member of NATO. So this photo was taken when Greece became a member of NATO, maybe. Cypriots. Even though it's Cyprus, it's Cyprus. Is it Cyprus in their own language? Is that what you're saying? Cyprus. Feel like I'm learning anything because it's all requiring a lot of additional knowledge. As soon as you said vest, I thought mid-50s. American Cyprus wanted to unite with Greece in 1952. That's what's happening. I think you might be right. I don't know how you know that. That's very clever of you. Enjoy the unique vintage films and photos depicting life in the cities as well as the remotest parts of the country in 1950s.
Alright, well, let's go next. Kapow. Alright, what we got? What we got? What you gonna give me? What we got? What kind of outfit are you wearing? Sort of hairstyles. Camera. Flared jeans. Look at that hairstyle. Those sorts of cameras, these sorts of cars. Barcelona. Something of Barcelona. Paseo de Gracia. Berlitz idiomas. Paseo de Gracia. The Bank of Barcelona, perhaps. So that looks to me like 1980. I think late 80s, late 70s, early 80s. You guys went a little earlier than me. I went 80s in this one. This lady looks modern. She looks like she's out of place. She looks like she's time traveled and then got caught on camera and been like, ah, shit. We got independence in 1960 under Greek rule, and then in 74 Turkey invaded, which is why it's now in 2 parts. I see. That's 70s hair for sure. Looks late 70s, early 80s. Most C's that pronounce like S, like Cerberus, are actually a K sound. Kerberos. Boxy cars, painful to look at. I was thinking early 80s, late 70s, looking at the guy in the background's pants. Flared. When was it? Oh, and this guy as well. Yeah, those look 70s, don't they? Alright, so we're looking at border between late 70s, early 80s, so we're looking at about 1980-ish. And then Bank of Barcelona. Do we want to actually go down trying to find Paseo de Gracia? Do we want to actually go down? Change the map type. Paseo de Gracia, what would that be? It's obviously like a big long street of some sort, like a big long main street of some kind. Paseo de Gracia, is that right? Oh no, Paseo de Isabel. Paseo de Picasso. La Rambla. Paseo. Carrer de la Lacuna. I have a feeling it's going to be on this side for some reason. I don't know why. Paseo de Let's something or other. Paseo de Joseph something. Gaming night. See you later, Maras. 1980, very good year. Bank of Barcelona doesn't necessarily mean it's in Barcelona. There's a Bank of Scotland in Manchester. Yeah, that's kind of what I was thinking. I was like, maybe. It was up there, other side by the shore. Okay. You saw it, did you? Bank of Paseo de Gracia. Paseo de Garcia. This is Garcia, and this is Grazia. Garcia is what I saw. Okay. Well, it's good enough. It's close enough. Let's just plonk it there. So are we going with late 70s? Should I go a little bit earlier than 1980? You reckon? This hair looks like the hair that my mum had in the photos of my brothers being born and like when she was pregnant with them and stuff, which was the mid 1980s. So this hairstyle was what I was mainly basing my mid 80s on. But the flared pants do look a little more 1970s. So I'm happy to go 1980 as a compromise. I've got 78 and 82 and 79. I'm happy with just chucking down 1980 as a compromise. Let's do that. Boom. 1980, spot on. Yeah, baby. 2 tourists with cameras posing for a photo on a street of Barcelona, Spain. Nice. I guessed over there. It was over here. There you go. That's your Paseo de Gracia. Not bad. Less than 4 kilometers away from the actual location. 9,918 points makes up for that bad last round, I guess. Oh, okay. Jeez Louise, what's going on in this one? What flag is that? Can anybody tell? It's one of the Scandinavian ones, right? Is that black or a dark blue? Sorry, is that red or a dark blue? And that's a slightly different flag, actually, this one. Oh, and then there's one with the Union flag in the corner by the looks of it. In fact, this is an embassy of some sort, because there's a US flag, maybe? The flag's a big plus. It's one of the Scandinavian ones on this building and on this building, but there's flags of all these different nations all in front of this building, so it's some kind of embassy. There's also some kind of parade going on with military uniforms there. Military guys lining the streets, somebody on horse-drawn carriages walking down the streets here, so there's no like automobiles that we can see. Very grainy footage. Look at this, look at the women wearing this shit with the big wide-brimmed hats, and you can tell that she's kind of walking, you can tell that she's wearing one of those petticoats or something. Some sort of royal symbol there, royal emblem with a crown on it. A top hat, this guy's got a top hat on. These guys have got like long, wide-brimmed, what have yous. Little bloody Oliver Twist. Horse-drawn carriage there, look. Another horse-drawn cart over there. Nobody recognises this or anything. Norway or Iceland. The hat's like 1900. There's also a Swedish flag in one place. There's hats everywhere. It's the 19-teens. 1914, Ajo says. Early 1900s. What's the earliest this goes to? 1900. Alright. 1914, something to do with the start of the war. The start of the Second War, the start of the First World War. I really don't. I don't know my flags well enough to know that this is to know which of the Scandinavian countries that is. Somebody said Norway or Iceland. What happened in Norway in the First World War? That was used as a that was occupied by Germany, wasn't it? There were like camps. There were camps in Norway in the First World War, I think. Maybe it's Oslo. The addresses are giving early 1900 though with the bigger bustles. So you're thinking like even earlier than 1913? Turn of the century to be sure. You're getting Bergen, Norway vibes? I'm happy to change to Bergen. They're both red and blue and it's hard to tell which it is in black and white. Oh, I see. Thank you, Jackie. I'm happy to go Bergen, Norway.
a pre-war Norway thing happening. Some sort of pre-war Norway. So we go 1913 then, just to... I mean, why would they be taking a photo of it, and what sort of military event is happening? Surely it's surely it's like upon the... Like right after announcing the war, they're putting some sort of military parade together or something, I would have thought. Anybody got anything else to add before we lock that in?
I'm all out of water. The military are not the parade. Oh yes, okay. So it's not. So the military are standing at the side of the parade, but there's like fancy folk that are in the parade, right? So what is the parade? So you're thinking maybe before the 1914, maybe even a little bit earlier than that. Was 1912 was the Titanic. Norway wasn't involved in any way in the Titanic situation, was it? It couldn't have been anything to do with that. Military holding back the civilians. 1905 maybe. Union with Sweden was dissolved. Oh yeah, when was... So 1905 was when the union with Sweden was dissolved. 1905 separation of Norway and Sweden is my guess. Oh, okay. So we'll go a little earlier. 1905 dissolution of Norway and Sweden. Yeah, I'm happy with that. Alright, let's go. Boom. 1 year off, 1906. Well done. And instead of Bergen, it was up here. Instead of down in Bergen, it was... What location is this? Trondheim. The view of the Nidaros Cathedral from the busy town square of Trondheim, Norway. Busy town square? They didn't even mention what the fuck people are gathered for? Just like saying it's busy just because it's busy? It's not just busy, there's something going on. What's going on? Nidaros Cathedral, Trondheim, 1906. Hey, damn, look at that. We got over 9,000 points again. You guys are good at this. It fits better with the clothing. Yeah. Looks better than a place I've been in Bergen. I mean, you were close. You were closer with Bergen than I would have... Well, about the same as I would have been in Oslo. Which needed to catch our stride. We're on fire now. Yeah. Isn't that where they filmed the Marvel stuff, Trondheim? I don't know. I've been to Trondheim. I should have recognised it. It's the oldest place in Norway, built in the 12th century. Okay. 100 heads better than one, apparently. Yeah. Alright. Bum, 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 bum. Okay, next round. Boop. Ooh, another black and white one. Got lots of black and whites. But this time we've got automobiles and steam trains. Anything on the steam train that we can learn about? I can tell that it's 9:45. 10 to 9. Let's look at the street now. Got a double-decker bus. Got some sort of cement mixer by the looks of it. But a little bit hard to see because of the steam. Rundle's Manufacturing Party Limited. Newcastle, London, New York. Damn it, I thought it was Newcastle, but it's got Newcastle, London, New York. We're looking at maybe Rundle's or Trundle's. Trundle's Manufacturing Party Limited, so that's all written in English. Rundle's, definitely. Rundle's, maker of fine clothes. Holden, parts and accessories. So we're somewhere in an English-speaking country. Newcastle. Alright, so it says Newcastle here as well. But it could be again saying Newcastle, London, New York, because this could be the start of... Oh no, the L is different, right? It's not super different, it's a little different. This could be the start of an E, like this.
You seeing? Yeah, you're seeing my cursor. So like this with this straight up and down, but with serifs, right? It could be the start of this E, right? So it could be Newcastle, England. It could, I guess, it looks a little different to me, but it could be the start of the L, so it could be Newcastle, London, New York, like it does with the other one. Rundles. Makers of fine clothes. Newcastle, mate. Newcastle is gonna right slap for house. Hollison. Hall and Son Limited. Hall and Son Limited. Buy some sort of train tracks. Alright, let's just go with Newcastle for now. Newcastle upon Tyne, mate. Yeah, he was alright. Slap. Where's the railways? Where's the railways? Here's a railway. Where's like the main station? Where's like Newcastle main city railway situation? St. James. Where's your main train station? Newcastle. Heworth. Metro Centre. Where's your train station? I want several lines crossing. I don't know Newcastle well enough. On June 22nd, 1906, King Haakon and Queen Maud were solemnly crowned in the anointed Nidaros Cathedral in Trondheim. There you go. So it was something going on. It was the coronation of King Haakon the 7th. Thank you for looking that up, Richard. I was tempted to do so, and then I was like, I don't know if I have the energy to look that up. Newcastle makes sense. Only people who would put Newcastle, London, and New York in the same group would be people from Newcastle. Is the phone number on that van UK format though? Ooh. I mean, early UK format maybe. Station wagon in the background seems 60s. It's over the river to the left. Zoom in. All right, over the river to the left. Zoom in somewhere around here. Is this it? Newcastle Central Station. All right. Newcastle Central Station. Are we going to get anything from the pictures? What are we looking for? We're looking for Rundles. We don't have any street names, do we? Rundles. We've got the shadow is to the right here. So that could be, it could be morning, and that's the east. It moves around to the south. So it's like I'm rotating the picture rather than the earth. So if it's morning and that's to the east, we're looking south. Otherwise it's noon. It's not noon because the shadows are too long. So it could be afternoon and that's slightly west. But either way it would have been around, it would be southwest. It would be, yeah, the sun would be in the southwest, which would mean this would be in the northeast, that direction. So that could be northeast or that could be west. We're looking south, or we're looking southeast, right? Northwest. Okay, so it was 10 to 9. Yes, that's right. It is 10 to 9 in the morning. Well done. So 10 to 9 in the morning. It's obviously not 10 to 9 at night. I mean, it could be 10 to 9 at night, but very unlikely with all of this hubbub and hullabaloo going on and how light the sky is. So 10 to 9 in the morning, which means that the sun is in the east, slightly south, which means that so we're looking, so it's in slightly southeast, which means that that direction is south. So we're looking for train lines that are running from northwest to southeast. Train lines that are running northwest to southeast with a road next to it. Northwest to southeast. We've got some railway here that runs that direction. Have I done my... Let me just double check that I've done that correctly. Sunrise is in the east. When you're up as north as Newcastle, the sunrise is slightly southeast. The sun is in the east, watch for danger. Nice. Right. The sun... When you are in the northern hemisphere, I'm getting myself mixed up from having switched hemispheres. When you're in the northern hemisphere, the sun passes to the south, right? So it raises slightly in the southeast. So it'll be like, at this time of day, it'll be east by southeast, which means the shadows are north by northwest, which means that that direction, perpendicular to the shadows, would be perpendicular to the shadows. If that's the shadow, it's basically exactly the opposite of what it looks like. We're looking exactly the opposite from what the compass rose would be, which means that direct on from us is south, which means that's east, which means the road is running to the southeast. Yeah, I was correct. It is southeast, yeah. Trust me, you're all 8,000 miles out. You reckon, Richard, where you think it is? It's Newcastle, New South Wales. I mean, it could be. It could be Newcastle in New South Wales. So, the problem is, all of the lines, there's at least 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, there's at least 4 lines, and they're all crossing. They definitely diverge and go different directions at that point, right before some sort of a clock face, some sort of town hall maybe. Newcastle Castle? That doesn't have a it doesn't have a clock on it or anything. Obviously this is going to have looked differently in the 1960s or something. Tell you what would be really cool for it would be way too involved, but it would be really cool, is if when you change the date, the overlay, like the satellite image, changes to match like what it would have looked like at the time. That would be super fucking cool. He's not going to read this till it's too late. Are you saying... I thought you were joking, Richard. Are you saying it definitely is? You're saying it definitely is Newcastle, South Wales? I thought you were joking. How far up is Newcastle? There it is. The van is for a Holden car parts supplier. That's an Aussie car brand. I'm looking at a picture of that tower right now. Oh, okay. I'll take your word for it. We need to find the Newcastle interchange, which is, it does run northwest to southeast. That's a pretty good example so far. Does it doesn't split though. The train line doesn't split, so maybe that's not the train. That's not the train station we're looking for. Maybe. Where's the train station that we're looking for? Is it this one? Warrabrook? No. I did wonder about Holden cars, but those buildings look too old for Newcastle. I guess it does seem to like New South Wales. I've been caught out by it a few times. Richard, if you're looking at a picture of the tower, like, hit me with it. Where are we looking? What suburb are we looking at? so that I can try and find it. The Newcastle interchange. Looks like they completely remodeled the station since the old days. Less lines. Yeah, it seems like it, right? I would have absolutely not gotten it if it actually is New South Wales. Hunter Water Corporation. Runders. I'm looking for something that says Runders, maybe. The Happy Wombat. Should I just chuck us down on the Newcastle interchange? Newcastle Customs House, possibly. Hamilton, Carrington, Cooks Hill, Georgetown, Merriweather, Callahan. That tower is possibly Newcastle Customs House. Well, I don't know where that is. That doesn't help me. In the meantime, what year are we thinking? What year are these very boxy cars? 1960s. Look at this classic old flatback. It's out on the pointy bit in the water, Newcastle East. I gotcha, thank you. Newcastle Beach. What did you say? Newcastle Customs House. I'm looking for Newcastle Customs House. Christchurch Cathedral. So many different Christchurch cathedrals in the world. Nobby. Nobby's Lighthouse. Nobby's Head. You want to give Nobby's Head? Newcastle Police Station. Where's my train line? I don't think there's a train line out in Newcastle East. Where's it gone? There we go. There's a train line there. How far does it go? Does it go underground? It seems to go underground there. I'll just end, maybe. Newcastle Beach. Is that a tram line? I think that's a tram line, maybe. Can't be that far out because there's no lines, or at least maybe there were lines. To be fair, the sky looks too clear for Newcastle in the UK. That's fair. 1961. Trucks seem late 50s, but we do holdovers. The car definitely early 60s vibes. There's a Rundle Tailoring Company in Newcastle, South Wales. Thanks, Google. Scott Street on the right, but you moved. Scott Street. You gotta give me something that doesn't move when I do, like what suburb? Hamilton East and such. Woolworths, King Streets, Hunter. And we're thinking like 62? 61, Calamai says. We'll go 61. 62, Jackie Piper says. I doubt they have trams. Isn't that what that symbol means? A light railway, maybe? Alright, let's just chuck in this one then, I guess. Boop. Purple The Station label that you keep ignoring. Purple label called The Station. Purple label called The Station. The Station. The Station. The Station. Purple label called The Station. I don't know where you're seeing the station, sorry. Newcastle Racecourse.
north coast of this bit, up and to the right. Alright, up here a bit more. Not like all the way out here. Down from here. It's like watching a row and play D&D. I'm just gonna lock in here. Boom. Alright, a view of the old railway station in Newcastle, Australia, with steam locomotives on its tracks. 1968. I was tempted to go a little bit later, but you guys wanted to lock in early 60s. I would have gone about 65, I think, if it was me. And then I guessed over here near the Newcastle interchange, and it was instead over here near the Queen's Wharf. So it was near the TAB. So this, the station, there it is. Boom. Yes, so the station was very close to where it would have been. And it would have gone north by northwest to south by southeast by east. So back in the day it would have been this direction. And it goes this way, Convict Lumberyard, and then I guess the tower that they're looking at is, where's the clock tower? I don't know what the clock tower is. It mustn't be there anymore. None of these look like they have a clock tower on them. It's closer than Tyneside would have been. A great deal closer. A great deal closer than fucking Newcastle upon Tyne. Thank you for that, Richard. It's odds though, it'll be a few years behind. Yeah. Casually blaming us for getting the wrong year. Yep. That's how it goes. Good evening, Aldrin. How's it going? My Earth Dawn round just finished. Just checking in for a moment before I head to bed. Well, good to see you. Heritage listed. Nice. Good job on getting the proper Newcastle. Next round. 5 out of 5. Final round. Here we go. Some kind of slightly more modern day this year, but obviously still like perm haircut and tighter jeans. Slightly flared pants by the looks of it. Flared pants and a cowboy hat. Nobody's got a cell phone out. Nobody's got a cell phone. Flared pants. Lots of flared pants. And then what are we looking at on the wall here? Ostentatious Tetchus, 1974. US Airmail, 1 stamp. Richard Core, Governor, Texas, 1874 to 1974. So that's 2 of the stamps that say 1974 in it, and then we've got a bunch of flared pants which are 1970s. So I'm thinking 1974 is a pretty good guess. It obviously could be after that though. Tejas is in Texas. Yeah, obviously we saw something here that said Tejas and something that says Texas, so I'll go in with Texas. Whereabouts is Tejas in Texas?
in Texas? 1976 from me. It's got to be Austin. It's Austin, Texas. I'm guessing it's more Texas. Yeah, it's Texas because of Spanish, obviously. Austin, Texas, Texas. Texas is just the Mexican pronunciation. I did wonder. I thought that's just how they pronounce it. Austin, Texas. All right, whereabouts in Austin? Whereabouts in Austin? Does anybody recognize the mural? Is it one that you've seen before? Who is this guy? Holding armadillos. Why have we got a person with a sky coat holding armadillos with a blimp flying through his chest? And why have we got a tower of some sort that's bleeding or dripping? And some kinds of... this is tripping me out. Then we recognize this building. The Ritz. Pepsi. '74 seems right for the pants, the handkerchief, the variety of chairs. It's ostentatious. Ostentatious. Smart. I didn't see that before, yeah. You sure it's not Texas, New South Wales? I mean, it could be, but it does say ostentatious, and then it says Richard Core, Governor, Texas. I like armadillos. Smooth on the inside, crunchy on the outside. Yeah, it's a callback. The tower is infamous. No, Ian, that's dime bars. Ouch. Dome is the Texas State Capitol building in Austin, near the Uni downtown. I'd wager. The mural could be of anywhere, but is there a place in Austin where they usually have festivals? Used to live in Texas, but my dude, Texas is big. I don't recognize this. It's giving university area vibes. I was in Austin once for a couple of days, but didn't see much. All right, well, let's go university downtown, you said. So I need to look for university downtown. Texas Capitol, like near the Capitol building, perhaps. Is there a university somewhere? University. The University of Texas, Austin. This one. Like somewhere around here, perhaps. The Drag. North University. West Campus. You guys still chatting? We are. We're playing Time Guesser. So, what are we voting? We're happy with this kind of area. I know where the mural is, but I googled it. Is that cheating? That is cheating, yes. We don't want you to look it up. We want you to know it. See if we know it. See if we can work it out from context clues. Somewhere on the Drag's a solid choice. I'll just chuck it on the Drag then. Boom. And then 1974. Are we happy with 1974? Do we want to go any earlier in these? This mural was making some commentary about the future, or do we want to go later and it was like this mural's been here a little while? It was a mix of the 60s and 70s. Well, if it helps, the 70s came after. 74 is as good as any. Alright, let's go. Bam! You got it spot on! 1974. And look at that! Look how fucking close we were! Holy shit! 92 meters away! We only lost 2 points! We were 2 points away from full. Holy shit. Look at that. Good on you all. You did a really good job with this one. University campus, somebody said. It feels like university to me, and it fucking was. Look at that. Renaissance Market. Man, if we'd have been like, let's try and get this absolutely spot on,
and I'd have just zoomed in from where I was, we might have seen Renaissance Market and been like, yeah, chuck it there. Living in Texas is finally good for something. Not 20 dice emoji, yeah. No idea what we're doing, but I think it's fun. It's called Time Guesser. You are given a photograph and you have to work out where it was taken and when. And we worked out from, so this thing says Austin, Texas, 1974. So we're probably somewhere in Austin, Texas in 1974. We looked at the flared pants and the hairstyles and stuff, and we're like, yeah, this is 74. And then somebody said that this is the Capitol building in Texas, Austin, which confirmed it for us. I still don't know who this guy is. And then somebody said this looks kind of like the university kind of area for me, and so we found the University of Austin and went on the drag, and we were right close. Look at that, 92 meters away. I'm better with clothing time periods when it's locations in the States. I like the mural, didn't want to know more about it. I didn't want to wait to know more about it. It's about as high as you can get on a single round. Yeah, 2 points. We could have gotten 2 points closer. We have had it before where I can go, oh, this is where it is, and then you can get really in and you go, where is the, because you can see like the street names or whatever, and you go, okay, it's definitely on the corner of these streets here. Now you go, where exactly was this photo taken from though? And so you then have to work that out and go, well, it's on the south side of the junction, and you can get a perfect 10k. Final score, not too bad, I think. 43,000. Look at that. Bam. We did it. 43,364 points. I'm going to screenshot it. Nice. We didn't do a very good job on the first round, which lost us most of those points because we only got 6,000 out of 10, so we lost like 4,000 there. So if we'd have got an extra 4,000 points from that first round, you know, that means that we didn't lose much over the other 4 rounds today. We got it spot on in a CC before, then went to rub it in Rackham's face. We did. That was kind of cheating though. We were like looking up all sorts of shit to try and get it. Got pretty damn close because it was in my state. Apparently Stephen F. Austin's the one holding the armadillos, but I don't know who he is or why. I was really frustrated and annoyed about one of the time guesses once because it was quite clearly the Sound of Music, right? It was the same costume and hills of Austria and all this that the Sound of Music is, but it wasn't Julie Andrews. It wasn't any of the actors, and I was like, oh, maybe this is actually the person that it's based on. So where would it be set? Sound of Music was in the hills of Austria, so I went to find that, and I was like somewhere around here, and then it was I was like, what? When is Sound of Music set? And we sort of like sat and thought about it for a bit, and I was like, I am 16, going on 17, and in that song there's something about going to war. So I was like, it's right before the war. So we worked it out, right? And we were like, okay, it's this time period in this rough location. And then it turned out it was a photo that was taken for promotional material of the Broadway version of Sound of Music in the 1960s or something. And I was like, well, what the fuck? They've taken a photo of someone who is in a period costume on a set that is designed to look like another place, and then use that photo in a game about where was this photo taken and when. They've deliberately taken a photograph of something that is obscuring and hiding its location and time by making it look like a different location and time, and then included that in a game where you have to work out the location and time. I was like, that's fucking bullshit. For the rest of that game, I was just like, every answer was like, I was like, well, it looks like it's in Belgium in the 1920s, but we're going to put it as in fucking San Francisco in 1990, and it just happens to be on the set of some period drama movie. It's not a proper Rob stream, so if we don't get a rant. Tricksy time guessers, yeah. Trixie Fay programmers at time guesser. Anyway. Alright. I'll do a quick wordle rather, and then we'll leave it there. All right, what is today's country? What is today's country from its shape? I do not recognize that shape, but that is quite clearly a coast. It's got all sorts of little bits of speckled islands and such, so it's an island nation. One of the Pacific island nations, perhaps. It's a bit big for one of the Pacific islands, so maybe one of the Caribbean islands. What do I think? Maybe I will just go with one of the Pacific islands just to see if we're close. We'll go Nauru. Alright, we're nowhere near Nauru. We are literally around the other side of the world, 13,000 kilometers. So what's the opposite of Nauru? Nauru is here. Opposite side of the world would be close to, that's like I think an African, it's like west coast of Africa. So what are the west coast African? That's something Verde. I always forget. Cabo Verde. Isn't that one of the islands off of west coast Africa? Man, I'm still miles away. I'm way too far north now. So then down south, I don't know any islands in that direction. There are definitely pictures that give you zero information on its location, yeah. Casually showing off his geography knowledge. So 8,000 miles south of Cabo Verde, kilometers rather, south of Cabo Verde is like South Africa region. What's an island that's down there? Like South Atlantic? Unless I've got Cabo Verde wrong. What's an island in the South Atlantic off the west coast of Africa? I don't think I know any. Antarctica. Antarctica is down there, but it doesn't look like that. And not technically a country. Greenland's a good thought? No. No, Greenland's not south of Cabo Verde. Also, Greenland doesn't look like that. Oh, I tell you what, it might not be an island. It might be. It's gonna be an island. Look at all them, all those little bits around the edges. I mean, it might be lakes and rivers and shit, I guess. Let's go Lesotho. Just to see if I'm on the level with it. I am now I'm much closer, and it's still south. Yeah, I figured it would have been east of the answer. What the fuck is there? There's no islands there. There's no countries down there. (3,000 kilometers). How far is 3,000 kilometers? This is really stumping me. It's like it's in. It's like it's in the ocean, in just an area where there's just not a country in my mind. I don't even know what to guess. 3,000 kilometers here to Perth, yeah. Hoping this somehow leads into Rob singing the Animaniacs song again. Antarctica is the only one. Like Easter Island. Yeah, does it accept Easter Island and things that aren't countries? It doesn't accept Easter Island. Galapagos, wrong side. Wrong side of the world. Galapagos is off the west coast of Ecuador. Cape Verde, like Boa Vista Verde. Cabo Verde we've already got. That's the one I've said. Boa Vista. Don't know Boa Vista. Falklands. Falklands seems too far away from me to me, but I guess it gives us something. Also not a country, so why is that on here as a country? Yeah, okay. Yeah, way too far east for Falklands, I thought it would be. But we're on a level. We're finally like on the level with Falklands. So basically if you go Falklands and Cabo Verde, right there. Antarctica might be a decent guess. Antarctica is not a good guess because it's not Antarctica. Antarctica is an option given though, even though it's not a country. That's weird. Although, no. Although, no. Antarctica would, if the answer was Antarctica, all of the answers, all of the arrows would be pointing downwards, because by definition Antarctica is south of every country. I'm back from reading about armadillos. Apparently the artist just likes them and campaigned to make them Austin's mascot. That's fucking awesome. Guam? No, Guam's in the Pacific. Puerto Rico's in the Caribbean. We're way off with those ones. Kind of the shape of Sierra Leone. Sierra Leone's too far north for that though, isn't it? I mean, I don't know my Africa well enough to say not, but Sierra Leone. I get Sierra Leone and Senegal mixed up sometimes. Senegal's the one that's kind of that shaped with Gambia between them, right? Sierra Leone, I mean, fuck it, I don't know. No, way too far north. A little bit closer than Cabo Verde, but still way too far north, like I thought. Sandwich Island? Sandwich Island is not... Oh, South Georgia and the South Sandwich Islands. I don't know where that is. South Georgia, as in like the country Georgia? I've never heard of South Georgia and the Sandwich Islands. My brain says Vatican City. It's 100% wrong, Faulty. 100.000% that you are wrong with Vatican City. Spanish Sahara is gone. Nigeria, Chad and Liberia, Egypt, Benin and Gabon. Dahomey, Namibia, Senegal, Libya, Cameroon, Congo, Zaire, Ethiopia, Guinea-Bissau, Madagascar. Cameroon, Congo, Zaire, Ethiopia, Guinea-Bissau, Madagascar. Rwanda, Mahan, Hong Kong, Abu Dhabi, Qatar, Islam. Yeah, none of those.
South Sandwich Islands are in the South Atlantic. I guess we'll go South Sandwich Islands, why not? Sandwich Islands, boom. Bouvet Island. What the fuck is Bouvet Island? Google Maps. Maps. Okay, man. Why are you not working? Bouvet. NATO declassified. Jesus, what the fuck is happening? Can you do the thing that you do? The one thing that you do? Thank you. What's going on? Do your job. Show me Bouvet Island. Fuck. Look at that. You see what I'm saying? Like, I knew exactly where it was from what it was saying, and I was like, there's no fucking countries down there. After the second one with Cabo Verde, here, it was like south, and I was like, 8,000 kilometers south? There's nothing fucking here. Edinburgh of the Seven Seas. South Georgia and the South Sandwich Islands. That's not a terrible guess. Like, we were on the level with it, but I've never heard of those before. Falklands I knew was way over here and was way too far. I did, before looking it up, I did have in mind that it was going to be about here, so I was still a little bit off. I thought it was going to be like here. So if I'd known about Edinburgh of the Seven Seas, I probably would have guessed that. And I would have been not too far wrong. Alright, what the fuck is this then? What is this place? Look at this, it's just an entire ice peak. What is it? Glacier covers 93% of this uninhabited volcanic island. That's not a fucking country! The whole game is called Guess the Country. It's not a fucking country. That's bullshit. That's actual bullshit, Wildle. Your whole fucking thing is Guess the Country. Assholes. It's an uninhabited island in the middle of fucking nowhere that's covered with glacier for 93% of it. And it's not a country. Did Wildle take you here too? 3 years ago. Me too, and that was the day Bouvet Island tourism started. By the way, I guessed it by typing island and then eliminating the places that I knew it couldn't be. It wasn't foolproof, but it gives you a fighting chance. That's not bad. Did Wildle take you here too? I fucking love that. I guess South Africa and the Wildle pointed south, and I was like, what? I didn't manage to see this island unless you really enlarge the map. Good one today, learned something new. I'm glad I learned something new. I just wish that it didn't say fucking country and then didn't give... It's like saying, oh, here, do you want to play a guessing game? I'm thinking of a person. You've got to guess who I'm thinking of. And then my answer's Bacon. It's not a fucking person. Unless I'm thinking of Kevin Bacon. Like, don't set up a game and then use a different fucking answer. Wildle cast me ashore on this godforsaken rock, and I find there's a thriving community just for the day, mind. There's more people here than have ever been to Bouvet Island. My first guess was Lesotho. I couldn't think of anything from there. Tried to cheat, but couldn't find it on Google Maps. So after 5 South Africa guesses, here we are. South Africa? Is it still South Africa? Oh, Francis Bacon, yeah. Love finding out about these tiny islands. Always spent ages reading about them on Wikipedia afterwards. Wildle is cool. Wildle is cool. It shouldn't be called fucking countries. I got as far as South Africa and Antarctica, but I had no idea what lay between them. Wildle tourism. I got here by Iceland, the Falklands, St. Helena, South Georgia, and then scrutinizing Google Maps in topography mode to see where the seafloor mapped formed islands. And then finding the right shape and placing a pin on it. Why are there over 600 reviews for this uninhabited island? The views were great, but the service was terrible. When
The waiters finally waddled up. The food was raw and cold. Looked like something they'd regurgitated. One staff of the food and services. Alright. I don't know how they're going to do next round. With Wordle, it's usually like, what's the population? Can you guess the 4 neighbours of Bouvet Island? Well, it depends which one you're fucking talking... What you mean about neighbours. Because apparently you're accepting just uninhabited islands. That one's South Africa. Some other islands. And some other islands. Edinburgh of the Seven Seas. It hasn't got 7 Seas as an option for some reason. I should complain to management. Redo. I call bullshit. So now I've learned something new and probably will forget it again tomorrow. I can have to go to bed. No worries, Alrin. Apparently it's the most remote island in the world. Ooh, cool. Bouvet Island, the most remote island in the world. One of those might be the Sandwich Islands. Yeah, Sandwich Islands, perhaps. Yes, correct. We've got a couple more. I've got just one more, right? Sandwich Islands. That was these ones with the ring. What are the other islands that it's looking at? This one, maybe. What's this guy? French Southern Antarctic something. French Guiana, French Southern Territories. No. Don't know. What is this island system gonna be? From here, one of the neighbouring islands. We've got this guy, this guy, this guy. Alfred Fuller. Alfred Fur, no. The Constellation ones are the Edinburgh ones. Nope. It's not one of the options given. I don't know. I give up. It was... Did it not tell me? You don't tell me? St. Helena, Ascension, and Tristan de Cunhu. St. Helena. Fuck is St. Helena? Questions and answers. Bouvet Island. St. Helena, Ascension, and Tristan de Cunha. How is that one of the neighbours of this one? How can you possibly claim that that is a neighbouring country to this when it's how fucking far away? Measure distance. I've lost it. I've lost the fucking island. Where's the island? It was somewhere in here, wasn't it? Fuck it, somewhere around here. 3,000 kilometers away. And you're like, yeah, that's a neighbouring island. How have you got this island on there, but you've not got Edinburgh of the South Seas on there? Have you not got Goch Island on there? Fucking stupid Wordle. Edinburgh, New South Wales. That's another uninhabited islands where I lose my mind. We have Google Earth on the VR headset. The kids love it. That sounds fun. We're using the term neighbours very loosely here. Just a hop, skip, and a jump, and a plane ride. All right, next round. Can you guess the flag for Bouvet Island? It doesn't have one because it's not a fucking country. This guy. Nope. All right. Fucking this guy. No. Fucking this guy. Bouvet Island. That's not Bouvet. That's just fucking Norway. Or Iceland. One of them. It's bullshit. This is Antarctica's flag. I didn't even know Antarctica had a flag. It's a pretty fucking dope flag though. Just pop into the neighbours for sugar. I'll be back in 2 to 4 weeks. Bonaparte was exiled there. What? Legit? Bouvet was legit where he was exiled? Are you taking the piss? It's because it's not a country, it's Norway. It's part of Norway. Alright, so Bouvet Island is part of Norway, which totally makes sense because, you know, if I was to look... Whoa! I don't know you do that. That's cool. Holy shit. Does it... You zoom out enough on Google Maps and it tells you, like, who's currently in which time of day and shit? That's cool. Yeah, anyway. It makes sense because, like, if you were to ask... There's a tiny little island, tiny little fucking speck of an island down here. Which country owns it? Your first thought would be, well, obviously, these guys. That just make obviously. In the same way that this country, this set of islands, is clearly owned by these fuckers. Obviously. Penguins are good flag designers. We're in space. How cool. How fucking cool. Alright, next round. Can you guess the national emblem of Bouvet Island? Is it barren wasteland of nothingness? Probably. National emblem of Bouvet Island. This one, maybe? No. Fucking this one, maybe? No. Okay, this one, I don't fucking... Bouvet Island, this guy, if you say so. Can you guess the size of Bouvet Island? About a matchbox, I'd say. Less than 10 kilometres. 11 to 50 kilometres. It's 49 square kilometres. Hint. Gives you other things around it. Is that it? That's all of the... It normally goes into rounds about, like, what are its exports and imports? And it doesn't have any of that. It normally asks you about population and city size and shit. It doesn't have any of that. Alright, well, we learned something. Bouvet Island. Don't mention the Falklands. St. Helena is where Bonaparte was exiled. There's about 4,000 people living there at any given time. Full cool plants and animals. Cool. Cool, 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 cool. I'm going to go with whatever Norway's emblem is for reasons. That was a bullshit game. It was a bullshit game. Unfortunately, I just got shit to do today, so I'm going to leave it there. Thank you very much for joining us, everybody. Thank you for being patrons and YouTube members. Thank you for your ongoing support, financial and otherwise. I hope that you enjoy all of the things coming soon. Getting back into Twitch Tales, a few more short rests coming. Obviously the end of the Viva la Dirt League campaign and the behind the scenes streams of those. Lots of questions to answer about the entire campaign so far. We'll be able to start answering some behind the scenes questions about stuff that I've been sitting on for 5 years. So hopefully you're enjoying that as and when it happens. Got lots of stuff coming up this year, and I will see whoever I see at PAX Australia in October as well. Thanks for being here. I'll see you in the BTS tomorrow. Bye!